All right, let me see where I'm at here. Let me just make sure I've got. Where's all my peoples? Hold on a second. Oh, I'm in gallery view. No wonder. Hey, everybody, how y'all doing? Welcome to How to Reprogram the Subconscious Mind: Secrets for Gaining Rapid Success, Health, Wealth, and Happiness. I'm your mentor, your guide, your tutor for tonight, your friend and consummate pen pal, Dr. David Snyder. Tonight we're going to be exploring some of the most powerful, instant, and rapid ways to rapidly reprogram your subconscious mind for health, wealth, success, and happiness. We're going to be covering everything from how the mind works, from my uniquely distorted worldview, all the way down to how to clear blocks to success, remove limiting beliefs, get rid of negative emotions, and really kind of tap into the true power of your nervous system so we can get you on the fast track to becoming your best self. To that effect, before we get into what I lovingly call the Dr. David Dog and Pony Show, I do have a few administrative details and a few things that kind of set the frame for tonight. First and foremost, before I go anywhere else, this is your class tonight. I come in with an outline, a curriculum, a syllabus that I want to share. And how I share that information and the way I impart that information is largely based on you, the viewer tonight, the subscriber. This is a very participation-heavy workshop, right? So if you're used to the classical webinars where maybe you log in for an hour, maybe 90 minutes, and the guy the teacher just kind of hits you with a PowerPoint or whatever, and then teases you with all these things that you could be doing if you just had his multi-million-dollar program, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. There is an offer connected to this webinar, but it's an extension of the classes, and it's the full package of the things we're going to be sharing with you. Because I believe that if you're gonna invest in yourself and invest in a program, you should probably have a little taste. You don't drive a car, you don't buy a car before you test drive it, so to speak. So tonight is about you. It's about the things you want, the things that keep you up at night, how to get those things done, how to move you towards that best version of yourself. That being said, I'm also kind of a no BS kind of guy. So first and foremost, my official disclaimer. If politically incorrect language, colorful metaphors, swearing, or the word boobies offends you, this is probably not the best use of the next 2 hours to 3 hours. And that kind of brings us back to this whole classic webinar approach. We don't do classic webinars. Our webinars tend to be very content heavy, very interactive in terms of the effects that they produce. And what we do for the first hour is we deliver solid, powerful, actionable content that you can take out into the world. My job here is to give you a set of experiences, right? So that you can realize the power that you have. You can have true faith and confidence in these techniques. The best part about it is you don't have to believe any of it. Right? I think I mentioned that in my little primer a few minutes ago. Nothing in this course is theoretical, so to speak. Everything has been proven over and over and over again in the real world, and if you just follow along and follow the instructions that I give you, you will feel significant results, right? Again, belief, not necessary for any of this to work, which is kind of weird considering that we're dealing with a subject like the mind. But the mind has rules. The body has rules. There are principles that govern mind and body and vibration and the physical universe as well as the metaphysical universe. Now, I do have classes that are more on the metaphysical focus, but this is not about that. This is about the organ inside of you and how everything works together. We're going to learn together to speak the language of the nervous system. We call it the primary encoding system. So that's kind of what we're going to do. So the first hour, all we're going to do for you is deliver you as much solid, actionable, workable content, laying the foundations for the rest of the webinar. At about the 60 to 75 minute mark tonight, I'm going to segue, if it's okay with you. I'm going to segue into the program, the offer that we put together to kind of help you extend and expand the skills we're building on tonight. When that is done, part 3 of our webinar is going to be me coming back to the rooms, the chats with you, picking up where we left off and continuing to teach for another 60 to 90 minutes, depending on what the tolerances of you guys are. Like I said, I'm here for you, right? So my goal, if this is the scope of everything there is to learn in terms of how to reprogram the subconscious mind, we've got time for this. So my first and foremost, my goal tonight is to take you as far as I can in the time we have and point you in the direction of where to go to take the next step. Is that a fair trade? If you feel that's fair, go ahead and type that in the chat. Just say, that's fair, I'm ready to go, in the chat, and we'll do it. Cool. Can you all hear me okay? I know some of you were saying it was kind of hard to hear. Am I loud enough for everybody? Okay, good. All right, a couple of other things really quick. First and foremost, there will be a replay of this webinar. So there will actually be 2 replays. The first one will be through our YouTube channel. The minute we log off the webinar, YouTube's going to render a copy of this video for people who want to catch the replay on YouTube. There will also be a Zoom replay. So we'll be taking that content, we'll be uploading it to the NLP Power website, or the David Snyder NLP website. You can catch it there. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh, questions. I know you're going to have questions, and I love questions. And if you've ever watched any of my older videos, you know that sometimes the questions can take us way off of the program. So here's the deal. I love questions. I think a good question deserves a good answer. So I'm going to teach you 3 ways that you can get your questions answered and still keep us on track for tonight. First and foremost, if you have a question that's relevant to the point in the webinar where we're at, type it in the chat. I have several assistants working back there who've been with me a very long time. Holly's back there, Seth is back there, Brandon's floating around somewhere, and of course, the amazing Stephanie Skiba, my administrative goddess. If you have any questions, these people can help you in terms of technical things or content or programs that we offer. Second, the other ways you can get your questions answered is ask your question in the chat, and if I don't answer it, it's not directly relevant to where I'm at in the webinar, I invite my veteran Planet David people to chime in and answer that question, right? And only answer the question, by the way, if you actually have real world experience with the area that they're talking about. So a lot of people have questions about trauma resolution or manifestation or influence tactics, interview techniques. Most of my veterans have been out in the real world using these things for years, making the life they want instead of the one that the society wants them to have. So that's the second way to get your questions. If that's still not good enough, when the replay on YouTube goes live, I make it a practice after every webinar, after every launch of a video, I spend the next week or so just checking the comments section below each video multiple times a day, going through extra lengths to make sure that the people who ask me good questions in the comments section get the answers they need. So there's 3 ways that you can get your questions answered. A, type it in the chat. If it's relevant, I'll answer it then and there. Many times the question you have is going to be answered later in the webinar, so just be patient. Number 2, type the question in the chat anyway, and I invite my veterans to answer those questions. And they're great people to talk to about the power of what we're going to be sharing with you. You expect me to have an agenda. You expect me to say, hey, my stuff is awesome, you should try it, you should buy everything I've got. Don't take my word for it. Talk to the people in the chat who've been bebopping around Planet David for a while and find out their responses. Email them or message them off the webinar and talk to them. They'll give you some real cool feedback on just how powerful these techniques are. And finally, type your question in the chat. So that being said, let's jump into stuff. First of all, I know a lot of you were doing this earlier, but go ahead and type your name, where you're checking in from, and if you are in fact a first-time viewer. Those of you who are veterans, type your name, where you're checking in from, and how long you've been studying and using our stuff. Go ahead and type that in. Perfect. Natalie's from Salt Lake City. Emma's in Liverpool. Oh my God. By the way, all my European and Australian and some of my Canadian students, Poland. Oh, beautiful. Anybody who's checking in from any place other than the United States, and I love you guys in the United States too, but you guys have kind of an easier time than our European or our Australian brothers and sisters, because they have huge time zones. Bahamas checking in, South Africa's checking in. That's beautiful. I love you all. Right? For those of you who are interested and want an excuse to get out of where you're locked down, in May we'll be doing a 7-day vibrational influence training in beautiful Costa Rica. So if you're interested in coming out to that, reach out to Stephanie. I'll post her information later, because I know a lot of people can get out of their countries and go to Costa Rica. So if you're looking for a way to get out, to hang in and learn some cool stuff, I invite you to do that. You got, oh my God, so many cool people from so many different places. It warms my heart. You guys are awesome. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and jump into what I lovingly call the Dr. David Dog and Pony Show. First and foremost, who the hell is Dr. David Snyder, and why should I care? First and foremost, I am in fact an actual doctor of Oriental medicine. This is a copy of my doctorate degree from Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. I've been a practicing acupuncturist and therapist since 2005. I have a clinic in Solana Beach where I specialize in treating physiological illness that's rooted in repressed emotion. In other words, like some people who are therapists, they deal with things like smoke cessation or nail biting or weight loss, and I get a teeny tiny bit of that. Most of the people I deal with are suffering from anything from chronic pain to terminal cancer. And when we unpack those things, what we find out is that most of what they're dealing with is mentally generated, emotionally generated. There's a psycho-emotional reason behind why the body generates these illnesses. And it's the same mechanisms that we can use to produce wealth and success and happiness in our life. They're just using it in the wrong direction. So that's a big piece of what we're going to be talking about tonight, is how to tap into the power of your mind in a healthy, positive way to get healthier, happier, more successful, and wealthier. But there's more to this than just the clinical side. I've authored over 15 different products in various forms of human influence. Everything ranging from how to get dates, how to satisfy your lover, how to, hold on a second, let me just make an adjustment to my microphone. Oh, my microphone's good, okay. How to satisfy your lover, how to be an unstoppable hypnotherapist, how to hypnotize people anytime, anywhere, under any situations and circumstances, how to nail job interview after job interview. In 2020, I was named one of the #1 NLP trainers of the year by globalgurus.org. And hopefully with your loving vote and support, maybe we can do it again in 2022. My course, Killer Influence, Secrets of Covert Hypnosis, was named the #1 NLP class of 2020 by globalgurus.org. Let me go ahead and share this again. I'm gonna bounce back and forth. I don't like PowerPoints a lot, so you're gonna see a lot of changing on the screen. And this is the letter from Global Gurus saying, hey, it is with great pleasure to announce that your training program, Killer Influence, has been chosen by global peers and ranked as the #1 best program in the world for NLP. And if you click on this link right here, you'll see all the different, where NLP Power and David Snyder NLP was named the #1 course in influence training, and everybody that we beat out. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud of the technologies that we teach. And we're going to be sharing a bunch of those with you tonight so that you can move forward and get the life you want the way that you want it. In case you didn't know, Grandmaster, I'm a lifelong martial artist. I have a 10th degree black belt in Ryukyu Kempo Karate, 4th degree black belt in Shaolin Kung Tao, 2nd degree black belt in Kosho Kempo, 1st degree black belt in Fang Kung Jiu Jitsu. I'm a certified instructor in combat sistema and a bunch of other Filipino martial arts. I have a lot of energy healing. I've done a lot of work with energy healing for a very long time. I've been a Reiki master since the early 90s, since before Reiki was cool. I'm certified in pranic healing and advanced pranic psychotherapy, advanced DNA theta healing, Banksta energy healing, and Qigong. So when you look at this whole laundry list of stuff, what do they all have in, it's like, what do all these things have in common? Well, there's two things that all these different disciplines, acupuncture and Oriental medicine, neuro-linguistic programming, martial arts, have in common. And that is state control and pattern recognition. One of the things that you will discover as you begin, especially in your studies of the mind, is that everything human beings do, physically, mentally, emotionally, verbally, has a structure. That structure is analogous to a pattern. When you can begin to perceive the world through the concept of the lens of pattern and structure, many of the secrets that hold us back, many of the things that move us forward become very, very obvious to you. Many people, unfortunately, have a very difficult time seeing their own patterns, right? But patterns exist at every level of human existence, every level of human consciousness. And once you can see the world through that lens, like I said, that filter, then all of a sudden things become very changeable very, very quickly. So if you were to ask me, what does state control and pattern recognition have to do with how to reprogram your subconscious mind? The short answer is everything. Everything. We have a structure to our thoughts. We have a structure to our belief. We have a structure to our fantasies. We have a structure to our daydreams. We have a structure to the words that we use. We have a structure to the way we move. And many of these patterns are the same. And that's what makes it cool, because the principles that govern the mind can also be used to influence the body. The principles that are used to influence the mind or the body can also be used to influence the mind. Real quick, does that make sense? From DRC here, it doesn't, I don't know if someone's asking for an interpreter. Cool. All right. So let's figure out something together. Are we in the right place? Is this particular webinar going to give you the skills that you want? So I'm just going to rattle off a few things for you, and all I want you to really do is if what I'm asking you, if you want to learn about, resonates with you, just type me in the chat, or I want that. Just real quick. This is kind of making sure you're in the right place to get the things you want. So how many would like to be more attractive in general to members of the opposite sex, to members in your own gender, and make them find you charming and fascinating and maybe even irresistible? Would anybody like that? Just pay attention to one of the very first things I'm going to teach you tonight, because if you understand that, you're going to find everything in your life getting easier automatically. How many of you would like to stop being afraid, banish fear and insecurity from your life, maybe be more confident, radiate a bit more assertiveness and power? People kind of defer to you maybe. Would that be useful? Stay tuned. We're going to show you how to build that for yourself. How many of you would just like to make more money? Pull it more. I don't know whether you're a fan of law of attraction or whether you believe you need to work really, really hard and right. How many of you would like to generate more revenue in your own, get more return on your investment in terms of your life efforts? Would that be something everybody wants? If that's for you, type it in the chat. How many of you would like to protect yourself from manipulators and people who are going to push your buttons? So there was a comment a lady made when I mentioned covert hypnosis. She said it sounds unethical. Is it ethical to be able to protect yourself from those kinds of things? Is it unethical to be able to recognize when people are doing them to you, so you can have a choice as to whether to let it affect you or not, right? And the reason I ask that is because you see that influence is why you're here. None of you came to this webinar because you want more randomness in your life. Nobody showed up on this webinar because you like leaving things to chance, or that you're happy with the programming that you're running under. Y'all want to level up, right? Everything human beings do is an attempt at influence. Period. End of story. Probably at no greater time in modern history than now, with the whole 24-month pandemic programming we've been receiving. We have been the target, the victim of some of the most heinous forms of mind control that have been leveled on a population. Now, don't get me wrong, that shit was going on long before COVID hit, but COVID gave certain agencies an excuse to just leverage this and click our amygdala on to the point where we can't even think straight. We're responding to everything emotionally instead of rationally. I'm going to show you how to turn it off. I'm going to show you how to get back on track, get more peace, more calm, more relaxation, more of everything we should be getting, rather than the things that we're being bombarded with. Okay, so I saw that question about covert hypnosis in the in the chat, and I just wanted to really address that, because you are always being influenced and you are always influencing. Okay, what we do is we're the good Jedi. We move through the world being the protectors and the sheepdogs instead of the sheeples and the wolves, if that makes any kind of sense. That's how I look at it. Now, you can wrap your mind around whatever you want with that. But anyway, that being said, if you would like to have people thinking and feeling and acting the way you want them to without any form of manipulation or you resorting to any kind of unethical tactics and strategies, would that be useful, right? If you'd like to make anyone you meet just simply like, admire, and trust you, maybe even love you, would that be helpful? Would you like to be able to find the right kinds of mates and partners and friends and know that these people are a deep level fit for what makes your life the most fulfilling ever? Stay with us. Like I said, one of the very first core techniques that we're going to work on together is going to show you the mechanics of how that works, both intrapersonally, in other words, inside your own mind and body, but also interpersonally between you and one other individual or a group of individuals. Okay. It's called the emotional motivation checklist. And depending on which direction you're pointing it, the name changes a little bit, but the mechanics don't. Okay. There's a certain checklist that every human being has that defines for them what is right, desirable, ethical, and permissible in their world. And once you understand how that system works, you can tap into it for unstoppable motivation. You can use it to sort the people who you want in your life from the people you don't, and you can usually do it pretty quick, right? When you're dealing with a client or a prospect or a customer, you can find out exactly what those people need and make a very, very powerful, rapid determination if you can actually give it to them and show them in a very obvious way that what you have is what they need. And you won't have to sell them. They will ask you to buy it, right? Because that's really what every single one of us is looking for. We're moving through the world with a certain list of desires. Many times we're not even conscious of them. We'll show you how to make them conscious, both within yourself, so you become fired up to go for the things you want, which is the most important piece for tonight. And secondarily, we'll give you an idea of how to tap into that with other people so you can ethically give them the things that they come to your service for. And it'll create immense loyalty for you. Would that be helpful? Would that be useful? Okay. All right, good. So this is a class that does involve altered states of consciousness. Now, we're not there yet, so to speak. So when we reach the points where we're doing drills and exercises together, if you do not do these exercises while you're driving, operating any form of heavy machinery, or involved in anything that requires your full and undivided attention, okay? So here's I'm going to put my screen back up here so you can see this. It's my personal promise to you tonight. For those of you who stick it out, this is what we're going to cover. The fastest, most powerful, and direct way to reprogram your subconscious mind and body for unlimited success, health, wealth, and happiness. One of the biggest things I discovered, ladies and gentlemen, about the technologies I'm sharing with you tonight is that when you put all these pieces together in the way the body is designed to function, it no longer matters if the problem you have is physiological/physical or emotional. So when I say mind and body, and health and wealth, I'm talking about the same coding system that creates physical illness is the same coding system that creates success, that creates a mindset and a belief system that takes action and magnetizes you to becoming the best version of yourself. If you stick with it, I'm going to teach you how to put a dead stop halt to procrastination. Procrastination has a structure just like every other kind of thought or belief or behavior that human beings have. I'm going to give you the building blocks of how that works and show you a rapid, powerful technique to get in the game. I'm going to teach you how to remove blocks to your success, how to get rid of negative emotions, fear, pain, and limiting beliefs. Again, many of these things are built the same way. They can be addressed with the same code and the same techniques. We're going to give you, if you stick with it, we're going to give you the exact steps you need to go from interesting information to maximum transformation in minimum time. Some of the things that I would like to share with you to facilitate that, for lack of a better word. Let me back to sharing my screen. Here we go. So I want to cover with you tonight the two most important factors for success, 3 ingredients to achievement, the rules of the mind, the ones they did not tell you about, a phenomena or a model of how the mind and body work called body-centered energy psychology. We're going to use this body-centered energy psychology idea to reprogram your subconscious mind using your body. And we're going to teach you how to program your future and clear your past, and finally how to take control of your life to get the life you want the way that you want it. That's kind of where I'd like to see us go. And so one last thing really quick. Again, go back to just sharing my screen. So before I show you the next slide, remember what I said at the beginning of today's webinar. If this is the scope of everything that there is to learn, we've got time for this. So I'm going to take you as far as I can. Like I said, in the time that we have, I'm going to point you in the direction of where to go for more. All right. That being said, the techniques that I'm going to be sharing with you are drawn from a much larger, much more comprehensive system of personal development and reprogramming the subconscious mind. And this is known as the Identity by Design system. Right, this is a personal alchemy protocol. It has 7 stages. The first is called general negativity clearing, special negativity, default driver states, internal dialogue, temporal editing, a priori timing, and trait installation. Now, what the hell does that actually mean? First thing we're going to teach you how to do in the system is we're going to teach you how to remove all the negativity from your body that you did not even know was there. Stuff that's just been kind of clogging up your system, getting in the way. If you've ever seen our gray room videos, you've been introduced to the concept of general negativity clearing. Think of it like soaking the pot before you throw it in the dishwasher to make sure that the stuff that can be got off just by soaking is handled. Many times your major problems go away right along at this first stage. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to resolve specialized negativity. What does this mean? It means there are certain things in your life that your unconscious mind will not let go of because it believes that if you let go of the problem, the lessons you learn from it will be forgotten as well, and you'll do it again. So if you've ever had a pain or an ache, you went to a therapist, you got rid of it, by the time you got home, it was back. Or maybe you've dated the same person with a different face. You know what I'm saying? That's usually a special negativity case. There's something about the template you've been giving that your neurology refuses to let go of. So we're going to show you how to deal with that. Then we would teach you default driver states. There are 4 states that people move through the world that lead to taking positive affirmative action that are not fear-based, that are not negative in that respect. And we teach you in the Identity by Design system exactly which 4 states those are. And I'll tell you what they are. They're relentless, curious, playful, and triumphant. Okay. We're going to teach you how to reprogram that voice in your head that keeps talking shit to you, tells you all the reasons why you don't deserve something. We're going to teach you how to reprogram it and change it into a voice of a trusted mentor who tells you all the reasons why you do deserve it, all the reasons you can do it, gives you the ability to problem solve, and motivates and inspires you to move forward in a way that's healthy for you. Then we're going to teach you how to systematically remove all the negativity from your past, so that when you look back on the past, you only remember it in ways that make your life better. Then what we do, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Dr. Bruce Lipton's work, we take this entire sequence of traits, we compress it, and we install it before your very first memory at the genetic level. If you're familiar with Dr. Bruce Lipton's epigenetic work using hypnosis and trance work, we actually install this as a template in the genetic memory so that your entire body is programmed to filter all of your experiences and behaviors through this process, so you get the very best version of yourself coming out. Finally, what we do in the Identity by Design system is we teach you how to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people who you truly admire, whose skill sets you'd like to have for yourself into you, and add it to that whole mix. So you get to become the person that you want to be instead of the person that the universe conspired to make you. So again, obviously we don't have time to teach you every single aspect. It's a 5-day training just in this, but the techniques I'm going to share with you tonight are drawn from this system. So I wanted you to understand that I'm kind of giving you like the sample platter of the buffet, and you can decide after you've done that sampling, how far down this rabbit hole you want to go. Does that sound like a fair a deal? Just type in there if you think that's fair. All right. So first thing I want to do is I want to start to customize the content of this webinar. I want to do it right off the bat. So I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. We're going to do our first drill. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a very functional webinar for you. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the drill so you can experience the change. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm actually going to explain why it worked. So you can have that. I want you to have the experience first, if that makes any kind of sense. So I want you to go ahead and type in the chat for me. What is it you most want to learn about today? What's the biggest, most pressing problem in your life that you would like the, hold on a second, let me share my screen. What do you want to learn about today? What's the biggest, most important question about programming your mind for success that you would like the answer to? Take a moment, type your answer in the chat so I can see it. This helps me actually to create future products and future content for you. Beautiful. More confidence, lots of confidence. I have a whole speech on confidence that I'm going to save that till the part 3 of the webinar, just so people don't get despaired or discouraged. Beautiful. Not sure. Okay. Okay. Excellent. Very good. So this brings us to the first drill that we're going to do. This is called the emotional connection and motivation checklist. And here's the first thing that we need to, I mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to cover it again. Human beings have a checklist for everything that is right and desirable in their world. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about the things that you typed into the chat. So if you type something in the chat, I want you to get out a piece of paper right now and write that down on the piece of paper. What you want, what problem you want to solve. Okay. So physically write it down. Okay. Human beings also carry inside of them a checklist, like I said, that must be satisfied in order for them to feel good about moving forward with a transaction or taking action in their life. So some people were saying, things are holding me back. Okay, there's 2 aspects to the holding back process. A lot of times it's safety lessons. And again, you heard me mention that when we talked about the identity by design silo. What's going to happen in this drill, I'm going to kind of unpack it up front. One of two things are going to happen. When we start doing this drill, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get super emotional. I'm just telling you that right up front, because that emotions are the fuel that drive every behavior that we take, positive or negative. Emotions are also the filter that warps our perceptions. You know, how many of you have heard of something called the reticular activating system? If you've heard of it, type it in the chat. Okay. For those of you who have been around Planet David, you've heard me talk about the reticular activating system using a different name. That name was called the emotional refractory period. In a nutshell, the reticular activating system is a physiological part of your brain that governs your perceptions. In other words, how many people here know somebody who's really, really lucky? Don't you hate those people? Right? One of the things that lucky people do is they have an identity that they self-identify. I can use that word now, I'm in California, as lucky people, right? And so because they self-identify as lucky people, their reticular activating system actually changes their perceptual abilities. So it spots opportunities in a nonlinear way in their environment that people who consider themselves average or unlucky do not see. It's the same world, it's the same universe, it's the same vibrational data that's being processed, but this reticular activating system that each of us has things that will let you see and it has things that won't. You with me so far? In other words, the reality you think you live in is not real. It's made up, it's distorted, it's deleted, it's generalized, it's an idealized version of the way the world is supposed to be based on the programming you've received. Okay, so one of the things that they did in the UK was they rented they wanted to see if lucky people actually had anything different that they do in terms of psychological attributes that give them this superpower of being lucky. And so they rented a restaurant, they hired actors to play the patrons, and they broke their test subjects up into 3 groups. The first group was the control group. The second group were people who self-identified as being lucky. The third group were people who self-identified as being unlucky. And what they did was they placed a 20-pound note on the floor, and they sent each group in one individual at a time, and they wanted to calibrate how long did it take average people, lucky people, and unlucky people to spot that 20-pound note on the floor, right? Well, as you can probably guess, the people who were average, about 50% of them found it right away. Some took a little bit longer, some didn't see it at all. But it was, in terms of the bell curve, people were average. 100% of the people who went into that, 100% of the lucky people who went into the restaurant saw it instantly, within seconds. They zeroed right into it. As far as we know, the people who self-identified as being unlucky are still looking for the restaurant. Okay, so how does this relate to this first exercise that we're going to do? One of the biggest ways that you influence your reticular activating system is through emotion. Every human being moves through the world with an internalized checklist of emotional needs and desires. And what they're doing, they're literally moving through the world, checking off the boxes. And every time they get to check off a box, they get more emotionally invested in something. That affects your reticular activating system to the nth degree, right? If you've ever played the game Slug Bug, where you get in the back of a car and you're driving, and every time you or your friend sees a Volkswagen Beetle, you yell Slug Bug, and you give them a Charlie horse or punch him in the arm or whatever. And then you get out of the car, and for the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes afterwards, everywhere you look, you see Volkswagen Rabbits, right? Or better yet, you've ever bought a car and you've gone from dealership to dealership to dealership to dealership looking for the right car, right? And then you finally find the car, you negotiate the price, you're driving home, and you look out the window and you can't believe what you see. You look in the rearview mirror, you can't believe what you see. Everybody in the world bought the same car and is driving it on the same day. Once again, reticular activating system. This is a part of you that is largely outside of conscious awareness, but it is under conscious control if you know how to tap into it. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. I'm going to give you a special drill that once you master it, you're going to be able to tap into unstoppable motivation and desire anytime that you want. You'll be able to find and isolate any limiting beliefs that you have so that you can get rid of them. And if you take this out into the world and you use it with your clients and your partners and your friends and your team that you're leading at work, you will discover the most powerful, bonding, motivating way to put the right people in the right place for the right reasons anytime you want. It's not uncommon when people take this into the real world and start applying it in their business for their success rates to go up 40, 50%. And while we're on the subject of that, emotional motivation aside, how many of you would like to be 30 to 31% better at everything? Type in the chat if you'd like that for yourself. Okay, here's the secret. If you adopt and maintain a fun, playful, curious, easygoing emotional state and attitude, you automatically become 30 to 31%, up to 31% more aware, 31% more flexible behaviorally, 31% more resourceful and creative, 31% smarter. Best part is, anybody you're interacting with becomes 31% more compliant. In other words, when you adopt this playful, easygoing, curious, fun-loving energy, anyone you interact with starts to like you more. They start to want to go along with the things you're asking them to do. Is that useful? Now, for those of you who are been around Planet David for a while, I know you already know the answer to this question, but for those of you who are first timers, do you know where that statistic comes from? It's a really easygoing, fun-loving occupation. Hostage negotiation. Think about that for a moment. Is there any environment more dangerous, more challenging, more inherently problematic than hostage negotiation? Maybe an LA or New York singles bar, maybe, right? But that, if you research Chris Voss's work, like Never Split the Difference and the Black Swan methods and things like that, that's where that comes from, right? So if you want to be 31% better at everything, including the things we're about to do, this happen. Be playful. You don't, like I said before, you don't have to believe anything that I'm teaching you. All you gotta do is do it, right? And that's where we're at now. We're in the doing part. Okay. So remember, first rule, A, be playful and curious and explorational anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances. Now, if you have a problem with that, in other words, what I mean by problem, that is maybe you're kind of in this mode where you're kind of always a sad sack, maybe you're always just a little bit on the depressed side. Sandra says, if you believe it, it works. If you don't believe it, it still works. Yes. Yes. You don't have to believe it for it to work. You just have to be willing to do it. Right? Because a lot of people, when we talk about not believing it, what they're actually saying is, I'm going to actually fight against it and see if it still works. That's not what I'm talking about. If you're marshaling your resources to resist the process, you're going to get what you fight for. But if you're at the very least neutral, and you just, well, let's see what the fuck happens, you'll be amazed. Right? One of the things we've seen over and over and over again is the only variable is repetitions. But usually you see like 9 out of 10 people hit it out of the park the first time. Kathleen McLean says, I want to be amazed. Kathleen, you've been around enough. You've seen this shit work. I know you've seen this stuff work, right? You've been in my groups, right? I know, but I need a tune-up. Don't we all, especially now, right? And that's why I'm here. This, this past 24 months has been one of the most challenging in our history on a psycho-emotional level. We need to get this real estate back in track. To do that, we're going to use this real estate. Okay, so you guys ready to learn this? Yes or yes, as T. Harv Eker would say. So here's what I need you to do. Now, I asked all of you to write down on a piece of paper what you wanted to take away. Some of you said procrastination. Some of you said get rid of limiting beliefs. Some of you said stop holding yourself back. Some of you weren't sure. Pretend you were sure. What comes up? Okay, so here's the first. I'm going to cover this more in depth later, but I'm going to give you 3 rules I want you to follow. Your unconscious mind always answers first. It always answers honestly, and it always feels like you're making it up. So enjoy it. We'll cover the rest of that later. For this drill, though, to get deep into it, what I'd like us to do is money blocks. That's fine. Now, if you're driving, don't do what I'm about to ask you to do. But if you want to do the exercise and you're driving or operating equipment, then what I want you to do is pull off to the side of the road, find a parking lot somewhere, put the car in park, turn off the ignition, make sure a cop isn't going to come up and knock on your window to make sure you're not dead or passed out. What I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes right now. I want you to stop for a moment, and I want you to think about what you wrote on your piece of paper, right? Maybe it's clearing money blocks. Maybe it's, changing personal reactions to things. Maybe it's some form of transformation, whatever it is, I don't care. But I want you to stop. And I want you to imagine you've done everything I've asked you to do in this webinar. You follow the techniques, you click the links I've asked you to do. You've done everything I've asked you to do, and you've nailed it. You came away from this webinar with everything you needed to solve that problem. And I'm going to ask you to imagine something. What might that be like? What might you see now that you've solved that problem? What might you hear? What might you smell? What might you taste? Because when you do that, when you see what you see, and you hear what you hear, and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, there's a feeling that you get. A feeling that lets you know you did the right thing. You took the right steps. You fixed it. And there's a place in your body where those wonderful feelings start, where they grow and where they spread from. Take a moment, point to where you feel it. Now, just keep doing this exercise. You don't need to type anything right now. Point to where you feel it. Now, look at that spot with your inner eyes. And notice that there's a color, maybe even a series of colors connected to those wonderful feelings. Whatever color or colors it is for you, just let it pop up, first impression. When you've got that, what I want you to do is imagine a beautiful ball of that energy floating above your head. And I'd like you to notice, become aware of how the feelings in your body shift and change as with every breath you take and every beat of your heart, that amazing ball of energy begins to grow. It begins to expand, begins to fill the entire room from floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, and all points in between. Notice how it wraps itself around you like an amazing blanket of transformation, revelation, freedom, power, security, whatever it is, a cocoon, a shield, a suit of armor, insulating you, protecting you from all negativity, all blockages, real or imagined, while at the same time flooding your mind, flooding your body, flooding your spirit with everything it most wants, everything it most needs in an infinite, ever expanding and unlimited supply. And when you know you've got that, breathe those amazing colors through your entire being. Let it fill you up like water fills up a bottle, like fluid fills up a test tube, like hot air or helium fills up a balloon. Anchor it in so fully, so completely. No force in the universe can turn it off, take it away, not even you. When you know you've got that, you realize it's true. Test it. Try to turn it off. Try to take it away. Notice what happens instead. When you know you've got that, I'm going to ask you a question as you live that life over and over again in your mind. Now that you've got it, what did it do for you? What's important about having achieved that thing? And when you're ready, I just want you to open your eyes and write down what came up. What was important to you about getting that? What did it do for you and what was important about it? Go with your first impressions, go with your emotions. It's okay. I want you to go ahead and do that. And when you're done, I want you to go ahead and type done in the chat. Beautiful. Okay. 1 second. Perfect. Now, close your eyes once again. Now that you know what's important about it, what it did for you, now that you've got that, ask yourself another question. What's important about that? What's important about having it, right? So you had that, you solved that problem, it did something for you. Okay. Now, some of you may notice as you begin to do these things that you're primarily filled with good feelings, true or not true? Type it in the chat. Right. Now, some of you may have noticed some other feelings coming up. Here's the second part of this. When a less than positive feeling came up, point to where you feel that. And make sure you write that down. And here's why. Anytime you do this process and anything other than a positive feeling comes up, what you've discovered is a place in your body where a limiting belief or a traumatic experience connected to getting this thing satisfied is stored. You follow me? When you do this exercise, you're crying. Perfect. If you're not feeling emotional, you're not doing it right. Because we call this, again, let me show you the template for this. 1 second. Okay. So you can see this okay, right? This is called the emotional bonding checklist. So the first thing I did was I had you imagine you solved the problem that you came here to solve, right? And I asked you to live that life, and I asked you to see what you see, hear what you hear, smell and taste what you smell and you taste. That's called cortical activation. You don't need to know that for this to work. But if you come like Identity by Design, our 5-day therapeutic hypnotherapy certification, you'll learn all the ins and outs of this. Farhad says, how do I discover what that limiting belief or trauma is? I'm going to teach you to do that in part 3 of the webinar. The best part is, though, is that you don't actually need to know to clear it in many cases. If you follow some of the techniques I'm going to share with you throughout this webinar, you don't need to know actually what it is, because there's a part of you, the part that created it in the first place, that always knows. There's a belief. Let me jump back to face for you guys right now. There's a belief fostered by psychotherapy and the psychology profession that in order for us to clear something, we have to know and understand everything about it. That's not true. In fact, you're going to discover that really, really quick, that 90% of the things that you clear, if you go through like the little silo I showed you, that identity by design silo, 100% of it is content free. The person guiding you through it, or you guiding yourself through it, doesn't need to know, because there's a mechanical process, for lack of a better word. It's not the most appropriate word, but it's close enough for government work. There's a mechanical process that our system goes through to create everything we think and feel. Whether it's a fantasy, whether it's a trauma, whether it's a disease condition, whether it's a daydream or a memory or a belief, there's a mechanical process that it goes through. That's largely doesn't matter what the content is. Once you understand that, you can clear shit really, really quick. So Rose says she's not having an emotional reaction. What am I doing wrong? Nothing. You may just have extra layers of dissociation. And again, we can show you how to fix that, right? Here's the secret. And this is, again, I could give you the neuroscience behind this, but here's how you move through things that come up. Let's say you have trouble seeing colors. Fine. What would it smell like? Or what would it sound like? Use a different part of your brain. The other thing is that the part of you, notice I said at the beginning of the drill, I said, what might you see? What might you hear? What might you smell? What might you taste? And then I said, there are three things you want you to pay attention to. Your unconscious mind always answers first. It always answers honestly. It always feels like you're making it up. You guys remember I said that? If you remember that, type it in. Okay. Here's why I said it always feels like you're making it up. The part of your brain that creates all of your memories, all of your traumas, all of your daydreams, all of your fantasies is the part that makes things up, the part that plays pretend. And so when you tap into this information, many times it will feel like something you're just making up. The hack from a programming perspective is if I just pretend that something is true, that part of my brain will tap in and create the effect I'm going for. So let's say I didn't feel a feeling, right? And if I didn't feel a feeling, how can I point to where I feel it? Very common, especially if you've got a high level of dissociation or dissociative identity issues, right? Pretend that you do. So it says, when I first started, I was sitting slouched. Now I feel better and I'm stronger. Beautiful. You're doing it right. Whatever responses you get from doing this process are right for you. You just have to figure out what these feelings mean. So if I'm having trouble finding a feeling, go with your first impression. Remember, trust it and pretend you know where it's at. Pretend you're doing it. And believe me, 99 times out of 100, it'll be right. Or so close to right, it doesn't matter. Okay. So at the end of the day, I think it was Linda I was looking at. Pretend you do feel something, or Rose, pretend you feel it. And if you could pretend to feel it anywhere, where would you pretend to feel it? Your neurology will automatically give you an answer, point to where you feel it, and just pick up with the drill mechanically the way that I've been leading you through it. Can you pretend you don't feel fear? You can pretend it for sure. And if you pretend it long enough, it'll be true. Right? But again, the pretend mechanism is designed as a way of kind of working around an extra layer of filter or dissociation between you and the experience. A lot of people have extra firewalls built in their neurology that they think because they don't do it exactly the way everybody else does it, that they're doing it wrong. No, you just have extra thickness in the firewall, if that makes any kind of sense. But if you play pretend, it'll work, right? Like I said, you don't got to believe it. Can you pretend you don't have any? Yes, you can, actually. But again, we're not putting a Band-Aid on the problem. What we're doing is we're tapping into the same system through a different pathway. So again, I want to be very clear on this, because again, people can think, well, David's just saying pretend you don't have it. It's not what I'm saying. The part of you that controls all of your subjective experiences is the same part that makes things up. Now, sometimes when we try to tap into a certain type of energy, we feel blocked. But you can access that same mechanism through a different doorway by pretending the information that you already have the information that I'm asking you for. Could I repeat the 3 characteristics of an unconscious response? Absolutely. Always answers first. Always answers honestly. Always feels like you're making it up. I'll give you number 4 right while we're at it too. You always have an urge to edit what just came up. So if you were doing this exercise and something came up and the next thing you felt in your or heard in your body was, that's not right, that was part 4. Right? Always answers first, always answers honestly, always feels like you're making it up, always feels like you have an urge to edit what just came up. Okay, you have a strong belief of abandonment and rejection. You built that belief a certain way. Once you understand how you built it, you can change it. But you just got to make sure, and we're going to cover this in part 3, you just got to make sure that your neurology says it's okay to get rid of it. Okay, all right, for those of you, again, a few of you are having challenges, and that's okay, I get it. Pretend, point to where you feel it, imagine there's a color. Pretend there's a color. It'll work. Okay, but let me get back to what Farhad was asking about. If you do this, in most cases, your body will be filled with really good emotional feelings. For some of you, you'll notice other feelings in the background. Point to where you feel those, because as you uncover those negative feelings, those are storage places in the body where you're holding on to limiting beliefs, traumatic experiences, things of that nature. Okay, you just found beliefs you didn't know you had. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes in order to find a belief that you didn't know you had, you have to do the inverse of it. You have to do something that triggers it. So again, when we circle back, I want you to write down where those were. And when we come back, okay, perfect. Again, you don't have to tell me where they're at for right now, right? It's again, as long as you know where they're at, you can fix this, all right? But I want you to close your eyes again. Go back to the first part of our drill. Imagine you satisfied those things. In other words, you see what you see, you hear what you hear, you smell what you taste, and you, again, notice the color, fill the room with it, wrap it around you, breathe it through you. Can they be in the same place? Yes. Yeah. Everybody does it a little bit differently. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Now, on your sheet, did you write down what's important to you about that and what having it'll do for you? If you did, type yes in the chat, please, so I know we're all on the same page. And by the way, for those of you who got a negative feeling, you still did it right. You just found things you need to, you just found your priorities when it comes to getting this. Beautiful, right? Again, for those of you who aren't sure what to write, imagine for a moment, remember when you decided to join me on this webinar, there was something you wanted to learn so that you could achieve something in your life. I want you to stop for a moment and imagine what it might be like to actually have that. You've gone through all the processes I've shared with you. You've followed my instructions. You've upgraded your life in whatever way I've taught you to do, right? And now you're living that life. What might you see? What might you hear? What might you smell? What might you taste? And when you do all that, there's going to be a body feeling. It's the body feeling we want, because the body feelings are what control everything. The moment we can tap into a body feeling, turn that body feeling into a color, fill the room with it, wrap it around you, breathe it through your body, right? Some of you may even break out in a sweat, get warm all over, get tingly, in addition to the emotions. That's okay, right? But this is what I want you to have, because again, as you build on this process, you're going to gain more and more control over your neurology. You're going to gain more and more control over those limiting beliefs. You're going to learn how to remove them from your mind and your body. Are we all clear on that? You guys want to take the next step? Okay, so assuming you followed my instructions, right? You imagine having it, you lived the life, you realized what it did for you, you asked yourself what's important about it. Now, ask yourself the question again, what's important about having that? And write that answer down. Go with your first impression. You don't have to, don't write it in the chat, write it on your paper. You need to have this. Okay, I need you to physically write down what pops into your head that's positive and desirable. Okay? When you've done that, type done in the chat. Beautiful. Okay. Now, read your answer to the first question, what's important about, out loud. Read the second question, what's important about, out loud. Now ask yourself a third time about the first two answers. What's important about that? So if you've done this properly, what you should have is, okay, I lived that life and this is what it did for me. This is what was important about it. Okay. What's important about having that? What's important about having that? Okay. Forehead, hold, take that feeling, pull it out of your body, put it on the side for now, and we will revisit. Again, when we circle back, we're going to get rid of that shit for you, okay? For those of you who are wondering about the negative things coming up, don't worry about it. We'll fix them. Before you leave, we'll show you how to fix them. How clean things will be, finally feeling good about things. Very good. Beautiful. Now, what did you notice when you breathe those colors? Again, the vast majority of you, did you get more motivated, inspired, and excited? Did you feel good feelings? Yes. Beautiful. Would you like to learn how to take it even further? All right. Now, everybody stand up. Take your paper in your hand. Now, for those of you who want to use this with clients, with partners, team members, things of that nature, the feelings you're about to experience, the good ones, are exactly what you're going to be giving to every single person that you do this process with. And again, in another webinar, I'll show you how to do this with clients and things of that. Right now, we're doing it for ourselves. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your piece of paper with your answers to your questions on it. I want you to hold it up at about a 45-degree angle. And I want you to read your answers, only your answers to the what's important about question. All three, you should have 3 answers written that are positive. I want you to read them 5 times out loud. Go ahead and do that. Stand up, hold the paper at about a 45-degree angle, read the answers to your questions 5 times out loud, and type done when you're done. What's important about? That was the only question that we asked. What's it going to do for you? What's important about it? All right. What happened when you read your answers out loud? Type in the chat what happened when you read your answers out loud. Nothing. Okay. Feel more confident, got louder, made a declaration, felt real, heard my voice, stronger, felt good, reaffirmation, tingly, expanded. Is this a good thing? Beautiful, right? What you've just done is tapped into your belief system and your value system for the things that emotionally fulfill and satisfy you. When you generate a massive emotion, which says she got goosebumps. When you generate a massive emotional charge this way, your reticular activating system reorients itself. You become extremely inspired. Are you guys motivated now to take actions and do things? Yes or no? Yes or yes? Yeah, right? Boom, right? How long did that take? Right? Perfect. You guys are doing great. You guys ready to take it to the next level? Hold on a second. Let me use my PowerPoint because I don't use it that much, right? Okay. Who wants to take things to the next level? You guys ready? Beautiful. All right. Now, my YouTubers, I love you guys too. There's a bit of a delay between when I speak something in the video chat and when it shows up in your feed, right? So again, the chats are in real time, but everything else there's a little bit of a delay. So with your permission, I mentioned at the beginning of our webinar, let me jump out of this really quick. At the beginning of the webinar, I mentioned that for the first hour, 15 minutes or so, I was going to lay the foundations for things for you. I was going to give you some experiences that you can use to build on. So what we just did today in the first, I gave you 3 things. I mean, a lot of other things, but I gave you 3 primary things. I gave you the fastest hack to being 31% better at everything. I again gave you a technique known as the emotional motivation checklist. Okay. And I linked that to a process known as color breathing. Now, color breathing is a technique that connects all the different divisions of your nervous system: autonomic nervous system, central nervous system, proprioceptive nervous system, interoceptive nervous system, mirror neurons, exteroception, interoception. Delilah says, wow, I'm breathing so deeply suddenly. It creates and connects all the different levels of your neurology using a common language, right? And then using the concept of the emotional motivation checklist with this color breathing, we amplified and magnified the things by speaking your checklist out loud. This magnetized you and harmonized all the different divisions of your neurology to begin to move in the same direction. Now, part of that, some of you noticed, less than positive feelings come up. That's great, because if that happened, that means your neurology is saying, hey, I'm all for that, but we got to clear this stuff first. And that's what we're going to do in part 3 of our webinar, when we start removing blocks to success, getting over limiting beliefs, getting rid of negative emotions, all of those things. Okay. But I promised you that I would show you that there was an offer. We put a program together for you that would teach you the entire system so you could apply it to yourself. And if you work with clients, how to do that. So with your permission, I'd like to go ahead and talk to you about that and share it with you, and give you an opportunity to level up. Would that be fair? Type yes if you think that's fair. Beautiful. All right. So this is, again, I know some of you, like the minute we start going into offers and things like that, you jump off or whatever. I highly recommend you stick to the end, because like I said, when we're done with this, we're going to come back and we're going to take everything we've learned in the first segment, and we're going to apply it to clearing your shit, removing procrastination, and getting you on the fast track. Okay, so with your permission, I'd like to teach you about a program we call the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Training for Success Home Study Course. This course is going to teach you all about helping take your own life to your next level. And if you work with clients, it's going to show you very, very way to open a whole new income stream for you. If you work with clients in any way, shape, or form, this is going to hyper accelerate your success rates. It's all about making more money, closing more deals, getting more dates, helping more people, and feeling more confident and powerful in yourself. If this is something, if you answered yes to any of the things that we talked about at the very beginning of the webinar, this can deliver so much more than what we talked about. But again, you don't have to believe it, you just got to do it. So here's what we put together, and this offer does expire tonight, January 26, 2022 at 11:59 p.m. While we're on that subject, I know a lot of you leave messages for Stephanie and things like that. Make sure if you do that you leave your contact information, because if you at least leave your contact information when she reaches out to you, you'll qualify for any benefits or bonuses. If you don't and you call up the next day and try to get in, you're going to miss out. So here's what we got for you. The Secrets of Personality Transformation Home Study Course is a 14 video set that covers the 7-stage identity by design process in a mind control training self-directed format. So it has those 7 stages. We'll teach you how to systematically remove the negativity you didn't even know you had from your mind and body, how to remove the specialized negativity, the things that keep you from actually taking action or bring back the things you thought you got rid of. We'll show you how to resolve that. We'll teach you how to program into yourself those default positive driver states of relentless curiosity, playfulness, and a sense of victory and triumph, so that you move through the world positively magnetized. Your reticular activating system is specialized towards perceiving things that make your life better, right? We're going to teach you how to systematically change that voice inside your head to one that, instead of tearing you down and telling you all the reasons why you don't deserve success or why you're a loser or all these other things, to a voice that builds you up, inspires you, motivates you, and reminds you that wherever you go, no matter what you do, no matter what life hands you, you are always loved, you are always good enough, and you're never, ever alone, right? If you're wondering what I mean when I say that voice inside your head, it's the voice inside that just said, what voice? Okay? It's there. We all have one. right? I'll show you how it's built. I'll show you how to change it and customize it to be what you want it to be instead of what randomness and the society programmed into you. It's about getting freedom at the highest level, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Then we're going to teach you how to systematically remove all the negativity from your past so that when you do look back on the past, you only remember it in ways that make your life better. I'm going to take that entire sequence. We're going to install it into you as a genetic template. If you're familiar with any of Bruce Lipton's work on epigenetics, you can change your DNA through hypnotic programming. We're going to show you how that works. We're going to show you a faster, more pervasive, more powerful way to reprogram your entire neurology using some of the techniques that we share with you here on this webinar, but also a much deeper level of technique. And then finally, we're going to teach you how to program into your own mind and body the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people you admire, people who you want to be like. If there's a famous, let's say you love to play tennis, and there's this famous tennis player whose skills you would love to have for yourself, you'd like to borrow those and build on those. We'll show you how to do that. If there's a public speaker or an actor or a musician whose skills you covet and you'd like to be more like, we'll show you how to do that so that you can customize and create the exact life that you want to have rather than the one everybody's trying to force you to live. Okay, so again, we're also going to include in this special exercises for reprogramming your subconscious mind and how to do this entire process in as little as 7.5 minutes. It comes with the Identity by Design manual, which is about just under 200 pages. It has modules on conversational hypnosis. It has modules on instant and rapid hypnosis inductions, things of that nature. And you get access to a special online community with over 210 active members. So, $297 value for each of the modules we talked about, plus the manual is $418. Total value for you, should you choose to accept it, is $2,497. But like I said, this is a package. And so when I designed this, I designed it for you specifically. I designed it for people who are basically stuck at home. Maybe you can't get out to a live event, no matter how much you'd like to. Who wants the biggest bang for their buck? Who wants to make sure that you have as complete a system for personal transformation as humanly possible? So I've added these bonuses that I think you'll really enjoy. So here we go. First and foremost, you're going to get the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study course. This is a video course, a 5-day video training that covers my entire hypnotherapy curriculum. It's going to teach you how to unlock the power of your subconscious mind, how to hypnotize people, including yourself, anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances, for any reason. Identity by Design, for some mysterious reason, seems to produce some of the most powerful therapists I've ever seen. But the personal transformation work that you go through as a byproduct of this is absolutely amazing. It'll completely change your life. It'll teach you how to remove blocks to your success, remove those limiting beliefs, many that you didn't even know you had. How to remove the hidden negativity from your life and your mind, as well as your clients. How to change that crappy voice inside your client's head so that it builds them up and moves them forward instead of tearing them down and holding them back. How to resolve all the negativity from your past, the stuff they don't even know they had, the stuff that when you look unconsciously back on it makes you not want to go forward. So that when you do look back on the past, you'll remember it in ways that make your life better. And finally, of course, to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics that you want and for your clients as well. We'll teach you instant and rapid hypnosis, imagination games, a special consultation that motivates and inspires 99% of the people who go through it to become a client. So if you want to build your business, we're going to show you what we call the no-fail client screening process. It's really powerful. We'll teach you modules on conversational hypnosis. We'll teach you an introduction to regression therapy called The Gift. We'll show you how to rapidly create powerful unconscious programming for yourself and your clients. It's really an amazing course. We've had people who've literally had to do this stuff in hotel lobbies undergoing renovations right next to an active jackhammer with 100% success. Some of those people are on the webinar tonight. It's a $1,497 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free as part of the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study course. It's a great expansion on the personality transformation product. Total value so far is $2,994. Hold on a second. That can't be right. My math is off. That's actually like 3,000 something. Someone type in the math for me on that one. I didn't realize there was a typo there. Anyway, Um, we're also going to throw in, for those of you who have a spiritual or into are fans of law of attraction, this is our flagship manifestation home study course. This is called Hidden Laws of Attraction. It was filmed live in Las Vegas. It's mind, magic, and manifestation made easy. And it's going to teach you how to systematically tap into the power of your subconscious mind to, once again, vibrationally, spiritually, find and remove the blocks to your health, wealth, success, and happiness that you may not even have known you had. How to become a money magnet, how to literally magnetize yourself to pull more money into your life. How to influence people remotely for healing, for influence, persuasion, and applications. It also teaches you some really cool other energy healing things. We're going to teach you how to clear up issues that just don't seem to go away. A powerful new information method. Now, information is my term. It's one of the most powerful ways to talk to your nervous system in such a way that just lights you on fire, gets all of your systems aligned. Just like the emotional motivation checklist that we did at the beginning, this takes it even further. If you like the feelings that you got, if you want more, and you want to really get on fire and talk to your neurology in the way it was originally designed by the universe to be talked to, this will actually supercharge your ability to do that and manifest the things you want. If you have motivation issues, this will blow these out of the water. Okay, it'll teach you to attract the things you want and change what you deserve. This is one of the big ones. You know, one of the biggest problems we have with law of attraction is there's a lot of things we want that we just don't feel we deserve, right? And this will show you how to find those things, and we'll show you how to change them. Right? We'll clear the negativity from your past. We'll teach you to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of naturally lucky people. Remember at the beginning of the webinar, I said, one of the traits that all lucky people share is they self-identify as lucky. There's 5 other traits that if you have the Identity by Design training, you can build this into yourself and absolutely accelerate and amplify the amount of luck in your life. Okay? We'll teach, and finally, definitely not least, I'm going to share with you one of the most powerful engines of personal transformation and manifestation I have ever seen. It's called image cycling. And there are people on this call who've seen me manifest practically impossible things. If you're a healer, if you're into spiritual improvement or empowerment, image cycling was developed originally in the Bankston Energy Healing System, and I adapted the methodology to become one of the most powerful ways to manifest anything you want in life. The only variable is time. It's insane. My whole doctorate was actually a byproduct of this manifestation engine. And I will show you how to do it, how to set it up, and how to get it activated in your life in this part of this course. It's a $1,497 value. Total value so far is $5,491. But as you can see, we're not done yet. We're also going to throw in real-world conversation hypnosis. This is the Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol. Now, why, if I'm teaching you how to reprogram your subconscious mind, am I actually teaching you a course on conversational hypnosis and persuasion? Let me jump in. Let me explain this to you really, really quickly. One of the things that we have to do, there's two components to success. The first is the identity that you have, which includes your belief system, your sense of deservingness, the things you're holding you back, the programming you've got. That was what this webinar is about. But there's another component to success that causes us to be stymied or not manifest the things we're programming ourselves to do. And that is a lack of skill set, the inability to take an action. So what I've done with this program is the first half of the program is all about inner game, getting your mind right, getting all of your belief systems in alignment, getting the traits, the qualities, the skills, the attributes that you need to be super successful, reprogram yourself, and custom design your identity. The second pieces are all about skills that you need to go out and take the actions in the world that lead to the manifestation of the life you want. Because if you can't move through the world inspiring and motivating people to want to do the things that you want them to do, to side with you, to ally with you, then you're dead in the water, right? So you need both halves of this equation. So when I created this package for you, I said to myself, okay, how do we get their head right? How do we get them aligned spiritually and vibrationally for the law of attraction? And how do we give them the final component? How do we teach them to ground? How do we get them to actually be able to take the actions in the real world that lead that manifestation and that mind programming that we spend so much time doing to appear. And this is what we've done, is we've given you two programs that will absolutely supercharge your ability to ground this work in the real world and custom write your ticket in this life. And this is the real world conversation hypnosis. We call this the Universal Persuasion Protocol. In this program, you're going to learn how to instantly and rapidly control your state at will, how to go into and out of any psycho-emotional state at the drop of a hat in any order or sequence, to transfer those emotions, to connect with another person on the deepest level. A byproduct of this is that no one will ever be able to push your buttons physically or emotionally ever again. You become extremely powerful and confident and relentless in your ability to move through the world being the person you want to be. It's going to teach you how to talk to people in such a way that they hang on your every word, anytime, anywhere, under any circumstance, for any reason. How to emotionally bond and connect with anyone you meet at will. Remember those feelings we talked about, we experienced at the beginning, where you felt all this energy rising up out of you? What if everybody you talked to felt that way about you? That's what it's going to do for you. It's going to teach you how to take this emotional bonding checklist and create a bridge between you and another human being so that they feel inspired, motivated, and driven, salivating in many cases, to do what you want them to do for their reasons, not yours. And that's all about win-win. Okay, you find out what they want, you demonstrate that you can give it to them, they will choose to do business with you automatically. You can apply this to relationships, you can apply this to teaching, you can apply this to therapy. Okay, it's about communication and connection everywhere you go. Okay, we're going to teach you how to control your emotions and use them to connect with others. We're going to teach you the 7 most powerful hypnotic language patterns that exist. You use them all the time anyway, you just don't know how powerful they truly are. One language pattern will teach you how to make anything you want, cause anything you want in the mind of yourself or your listeners. One pattern will allow you to make anything you want mean anything you want in the minds of your listeners. Would that be a useful skill to have, especially if you're a therapist, right? Or a coach or a motivator or a team leader? Another one of these patterns will allow you to force a person's internal mental movies to be exactly what you describe in the way they most like it, with 0 chance of mistranslation. Another pattern will literally cause a person's awareness to focus exactly on the things you want to the exclusion of everything else, and automatically begin any state, process, or experience mentally that you describe. Okay, that's just 4 patterns. There's 3 others that are just take your influence abilities off the chart. One of these patterns, I won't tell you which one it is so powerful you can't even resist it when you know it's being done. Right? Notice which one that might be and try to resist it and notice what happens instead, right? If you would like to learn how to make people like, love, and trust you on command, at will, anytime, anywhere, under any circumstance, for any reason, might there be a practical use for this? This is a course that will give you those skills to express your power in a gentle, loving, irresistible way to help people and yourself get the life you want the way that you want it. If you would like to gain more magnetic charisma on command, this is the course that will do it for you, and so much more included in this course. Again, this is so you can take action in the real world, right? It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free as part of this package tonight, for just being on the webinar, for staying with us and playing with us, right? But we got one more thing I want to share with you. This is called Renegade Reframing. Remember at the beginning of our training, I said human beings have belief systems, right? Well, what if for every limiting belief that you discovered in yourself or other people, you had 14 different ways to change that limiting belief? What would that do for you? Think about it for a moment. If you had 14 solutions to any limiting belief you encountered, any objection to any argument that you encountered, if you have 14 different ways to change it in minutes, sometimes even seconds, what would that do for your life, right? This particular course, Renegade Reframing, how to rapidly change beliefs and instantly overcome any objection in just minutes, is I call this a bridge class. And one of the reasons I say that is this class specifically acts as a bridge between other people's belief systems and your own. You can take the techniques taught in this program and apply them to your own limiting beliefs and change them in seconds. That I'm teaching some of this in my coaching program right now. And on the very first day, one of our students came in, and I asked him to give me 2 or 3 limiting beliefs, and I hit him with a couple of these patterns. And by like 10 or 15 seconds into it, his brain started lighting up like a Christmas tree. It started creating different perspectives and ranges of thought, and all his limiting beliefs started to just dissolve because he had all these other options that poked up in his head that he didn't need to be stuck anymore. And so beliefs, when they hit us, because of the way they're built, often feel like they're unchangeable, immutable, iceberg-sized blockages in our life that can't be changed. They're actually quite easy to change. And so this particular program is something that you can use for yourself. You can use it with your clients. You can use it to write powerful sales copy. You can use it to motivate and inspire people. This works great for children because a lot of times the only thing standing between a negative experience for a child and success is a limiting belief. And if you can give a child a way to look at something that inspires and motivates them and expands their sense of possibilities, you've given them the key to making their life exactly what they want it to be. You've allowed them the ability to actualize all of their potential. So I'm very, very proud of this course. And it's literally changed the lives and the thinking patterns of thousands of people all over the world. I'm giving this to you absolutely free. It's a $1,950 value as a way to amplify and magnify all the powerful change work that you've done with the secrets of personality transformation, identity by design, to self-actualize your ability to take actions in the real world and remove obstacles to your success in other people. It's a total combined value is $9,391. So just to review, what's in the package? Secrets of Personality Transformation, Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study Course. 14 video set plus manuals at $2,497 value. You're going to get the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Certification Home Study Course, a $1,497 value. You're going to get the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Mind, Magic, and Manifestation Masterclass, $1,497 value. We're going to give you the Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol Formula. This gives you the ability to influence people anytime, anywhere, under any situation or circumstance, from the classroom to the seminar room, to the therapy room, to the boardroom, the bedroom, and all points in between. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. And finally, fourth of the mega bonuses in this particular program is the Renegade Reframing, how to overcome any objection and change beliefs during normal conversations in seconds and minutes, instantly. It's a $1,950 value. Total value, if you were to try to buy these on the website, and some of these you actually can't buy, you can't find them on the website because we don't offer them except through the webinar program. It's $9,391. But as you could probably imagine, for those of you who are on tonight's webinar, I want you to have the best chance possible to make your life everything you want it to be, right? And I'm gonna continue to teach even beyond this segment of the webinar, so you have those tools. But today I want to give you the best deal humanly possible. So you're not going to have to pay $9,391. We're not even going to make you pay $6,347. I could take another $2,000 off that, or and drop it down to $3,347. But I'm not going to do that either, because I want you to make 2022 your breakout year. I want you to have a different life. In order to have a different life, if you want something different, you got to do something different. So I'm inviting you to become a member of Planet David, to take our courses, field test them. I'm not even going to make you pay $2,347. In fact, if you want everything I've talked about, you want the life you were born to live rather than the life that society is trying to program you to live. If you want to break free of your chains and move forward, you can get it all for one low installment of just $997. If you need a little extra help, so people are saying, well, can we make it payments over time? Yes, you can break that up into 3 easy installments of just $397. All you need to do to grab your package is go to www.davidsnydernlp.com/mine. That's www.davidsnydernlp.com/mine. www.davidsnydernlp.com/mind. There's a link should be appearing in your chat. Go ahead and click that link if you're interested in taking your life to the next level. Okay. Now, obviously, For those of you, there's certain types of people in life. There are people who kind of sit and ruminate and wait to the last minute and then they jump on it, and that's fine. But there are other people who know when something's right, and they're early adopters. They're action takers. Now, I've always had a belief that the behavior that gets repeated, or the behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. The behavior that gets repeated gets reinforced. And so when I find somebody in Planet David who is ready to take action, who's ready to level up, I want to motivate them. I want to reward them for being a fast action taker. So first and foremost, I'm going to give you a 60-day trial. When you get this course, you have 60 days. Take these puppies out, test these techniques. If after 60 days, you're not on the fast track to making more money, attracting more success, manifesting the life of your dreams, if the fears and the self-sabotage and the limiting beliefs and the procrastination aren't dissolving or rapidly gone from your life, if you're not winning more social encounters and custom creating a life that you want, if you're not satisfied for any reason, I will refund your money. You have absolutely zero risk to do this, okay? Test drive it for 60 days. If it works, keep going, man. If it doesn't, let us know. And if you're having sticking points, pick up the phone and tell us you're having a challenge. Tell us where you're having some confusion. We pride ourselves on our service. If you have a question, we will get you the answer. And if after 60 days, those answers aren't bearing fruit, let us know. We'll refund your money, okay? You have absolutely zero risk. All you got to do now is go to www.davidsnydernlp.com/mine, www.davidsnydernlp.com/mine. As they say in YouTube, smash that button, click that link. I've been watching way too much YouTube and Instagram and all this other stuff. I don't do TikTok, that's my kids, but www.davidsnydernlp.com. And of course, as you may have surmised, if that wasn't amazing enough already, if you grab your course before tonight, January 26th, 2022 at 11:59 p.m., I'm going to include some really cool, super fast action bonuses. The first one is the difference that makes the difference. This is called the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Practice Group and 10-year Video Archive. This is a group I've been running on the third Saturday of every month for the last 11 years, actually longer than that. We started in 2010, so it's actually going on 12 years now. Okay, and what we do on the third Saturday of every month, people come in either live, which is usually what we do, or virtually, and I literally go around them and I say, Holly, what do you want to learn? Seth, what do you want to learn? Jason, what do you want to learn? Jeff, what do you want to learn? Tina, what do you want to learn? Moses, what do you want to learn? And I write down what they want to learn on the board. I step back, I look at it, I see where all the connecting threads are. I create a lesson plan on the spot, and for the next 3-4 hours, I drill you on those skills until you can do them in your sleep. The NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Archive is a hands-on group mentoring program designed specifically to give you the exact skills you came to learn and nothing else. Okay. It's a great way to bond with people who are like-minded, who have the same interests and desires that you do. You will not get a certificate from the mentoring program. What you will get is the opportunity to work hands-on with lots of cool people who like to do cool stuff. You'll come away, you go out into the world to take the skills that you've learned and start making your life the way that you want it. If Mary's asking about the payment plan on the website, if you reach out, Mary, to Stephanie at NLP Power or call her directly, she'll set up the payment plan for you. Okay. So yeah, but here's the best part. You notice it said on the slide, Mastermind Mentoring Practice Group and 10-year video archive. What I have done every year for the past going on 12 years, actually, is I have videotaped every single session that we've ever taught. I've archived that video footage from those 4 and 8 hour workshops on the NLP Power website, on the Facebook, our private Facebook group, as well as some of it is now actually available on our subscriber level YouTube channel. As a member of the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Group Archive, you will have the ability to come in for 3 months straight on the third Saturday of every month, roll up your sleeves, do some drills and get some skills. And it'll be the things you want to know about, right? But the best part is you'll have unlimited access for those 90 days to 11 plus years of video content that has never seen the light of day. Stuff that only our elite people can access. And it covers everything from attraction, law of attraction, personal transformation, healing, psychic skills, energy healing, marketing, hypnotherapy, regression therapy, neurolinguistic programming, conversational hypnosis, advanced spiritual development, and energy skills. It's in there, right? You can binge watch hundreds and hundreds of hours of this content to your heart's content for a full 90 days, right? If you like what you're learning, if you like the people, if you're getting value from it and you want to stay, just pick up the phone, let us know, and we'll extend your membership. We'll show you how to do that. If you like the 90 days and you kind of got what you needed, you don't need any more, you got 90 days of some of the coolest content on the planet that most people will never see, right? It's my gift to you. And it's, as you can probably guess, it's way more valuable than the $594 listed here, but I didn't update the slide. So we're going to give this to you absolutely free as part of the fast action bonuses for those of you who know they want to do this. Okay. Let me go back to sharing my screen. But I wanted to jump off and just kind of look you in the eye and explain that to you. Total combined value so far is $9,985. We're also going to include the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. Now, this is a scaled down, distilled, concentrated approach to being able to watch a couple videos and go out into the world that night and start hypnotizing people. There are videos on the 7 most powerful language patterns, the 3 magic question protocol, which generates immense liking, trusting, and love. There's 6 videos on called Instant Influence, which is me doing a live event, teaching the same language patterns and drilling people on them. There's a video course in there called Instant Inductions Made Easy, which teaches you how to do instant and rapid hypnosis inductions. Again, this course was specifically designed for people who don't want to sit through 6 days of material, who want to learn, watch something tonight, start hypnotizing people tomorrow. It comes with workbooks, transcripts, and a ton of video, including, I think, Anchors in Action and a video on lie detection is also in there. So this is a great crash course. It's a $997 value. It's yours absolutely free, because I know some of you don't want to wait. You want to go out into the world. You want to test these skills. You want to see how they work for you. It's a $10,982 of combined value so far, but we're not done just yet. You know, one of the things that I have seen over and over and over again is the power of live training, the power of getting a person in a room for 3, 5, 7 days and just putting them through their paces, getting these skills from theory into application in a way that they embody those skills. For those of you who want that level to not only just understand and know these skills, but to embody them, to personify them, to be able to truly do them anytime, anywhere, for any reason, under any circumstance. If you just want a freaking excuse to get out of your house and go somewhere cool, for the next 27 people who grab this package now, we're going to issue you a free VIP super ticket. This super ticket will give you free admission to our next Real World Hypnosis Identity by Design 5-day hypnosis and hypnotherapy certification bootcamp live in Las Vegas, March 8th through the 12th, 2022. Some restrictions do apply, but most of them won't apply to you. Okay. And what this is a 5-day deep dive into everything you need to know to be an unstoppable change worker, how to get people past their traumas, their phobias, their limiting beliefs, overcoming blocks to success, procrastination, how to customize using that identity by design silo we talked about to allow people to become the person they truly want to be. If you are a coach, if you're a therapist, if you want to be a coach or a therapist, this is the most unstoppable, get it from zero to hero training that exists. It's going to cover instant and rapid inductions, imagination games, screening and profiling clients, suggestion, self-suggestion, the 7-day identity by design silo, the introduction to regression, as well as some powerful self-hypnosis techniques, and so much more. This is probably, this particular program, I'm really proud of this program, I got to tell you. It puts out some of the most powerful, unstoppable hypnotists and change workers I've ever seen. And it will take you from zero to hero in 5 days. And the best part is you will be surrounded by some of the most amazing people that you can imagine. You will come out thoroughly changed and transformed as a byproduct of this package. And it will allow you to custom write your path in this world. If you want to use it as a separate income stream, you can do that. If you just want to use it to help yourself and your family, you can do that. If you just want to use it for yourself, you can do that. 5 days in Vegas with me and some of the coolest, most powerful hypnotists on the planet, and people just like you who want more from life and the tools to get there. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you free. Now, the best thing about our VIP tickets is that they don't expire. Let's say for some reason your schedule's full, you can't get to Vegas March 8th through the 12th. Pick up the phone, let Stephanie know. We will move you to a different training. We will give you that VIP ticket to use for something else if for some reason you can't make the 5-day event. Let's say something comes up at the last minute, new round of COVID restrictions, a new variant comes out, government lock won't let you on the plane, boss is an asshole, death in the family, whatever. All you got to do is pick up the phone, let us know. We will move you to the next available Identity by Design training. Okay. Once you have this ticket, it's yours until you use it. If it takes you 6 years, 10 years, 20 years to get to a live event, that ticket is still good. If something comes up, let's say you want to come to a training, but you waited too long and now it's full up, there's no more room. If you have one of these VIP tickets, we'll find a seat for you. We will make a seat for you. If you want to gift this training to somebody else who you think would benefit from that 5-day certification, you can gift it to them. It's yours to do with as you wish. But this ticket is limited to the first 27 people to register today, and specifically while I'm on tonight's webinar. When I log off the webinar tonight, this bonus and the other 2 fast action bonuses go away. You still have until 11:59 p.m. tonight to get the 4-pack, but if you want all the fast action bonuses, you got to grab them before I log off the webinar tonight, which is good for you because I'm going to be on for another hour or so at least, teaching you cool stuff. Total value, $1,950 value for this super ticket. It's actually $2,250 value because we've raised our prices. I need to update this PowerPoint like really badly. Anyway, combined value is $12,932. Right? What you're going to get: Secrets of Personality Transformation, Ultra Mind Control Training plus Manual. It's $2,497 value. You're going to get the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course, $1,497 value. We're going to give it to you free. You're going to get the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation and Mind Control Mastery Home Study Course plus Manual, $1,497 value, absolutely free. You're going to get the Stealth, CPI, Universal Persuasion Protocol, Instant Conversation Hypnosis Course, or a Rapid Conversation Hypnosis Course, $1,950 value. You're going to get that absolutely free. You're going to get Renegade Reframing, How to Overcome Objections in Conversational Belief Change in Seconds, $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you free. You're going to get the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring 3-month trial membership and 10-year video archive access, $594 value, given to you 100% free. You're going to get the Stealth Instant Conversation Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 value. We're going to give that to you free. And finally, I love this. I love this because it puts so many cool people in the same room with me. The VIP Super Ticket, Real World Hypnosis and Hypnotherapy, Identity by Design, 5-day hypnotherapy certification boot camp. It's a $1,950 value. You can get it all for today. Today only, $997. Or if you need extra help, you can break that up into 3 easy installments of just $397. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.davidsnydernlp.com/mind. davidsnydernlp.com/mind. www.davidsnydernlp.com/mind. Click the link, click the link, click the link, reserve your spot, reserve your spot, reserve your spot. While you're doing that, I'm going to give everybody else a 7-minute break so you can get that handled. When we come back, we're going to pick up where we left off. We're going to start to dissolve those limiting beliefs that we found at the beginning of our training. We're going to show you, I'm going to give you a little bit of the theory so you understand why this works. And then it's going to be up to you where you want to go next, right? Because like I said before, we're going to teach you the foundations. We're going to give you some experiences. We're going to explain what we have for you. And when we're done with that, we're going to come back. We're going to pick up. We're going to continue to teach and deliver powerful, actionable, real world techniques that you can use to put into action and change your life and change your mind for health, wealth, success, and happiness. It's all for you guys. So we'll see you in 7 minutes at 5:50 p.m. my time. Talk to you soon. Okay, I'm back early, so if anybody has any questions, you can type them in the chat. I'll answer questions while we're waiting. Let's see here. I guess there were some questions in the Facebook group about the next mastermind. The next mastermind will be, I believe, it's either this Saturday or Sunday, because we had to postpone it. It'll be this Saturday, I believe, January 29th at 11 a.m. Pacific. How long have I been doing this? I've been doing this, it really depends on when you count me starting. I taught hypnosis and NLP for free for 10 years before I ever decided to certify anybody or create a course or what have you. So you can easily say I've been doing this since 2002 or 2003. I've been doing NLP and hypnosis a lot longer. I just started doing it in California around 2005. So I've been in private practice, using energy medicine, hypnotherapy, and NLP since 2005 when I graduated from acupuncture school. Why did I get into this profession? That's a funny story. I got into this profession because I wanted to be better. There were things in my life. I was the classic bullied kid. And all my life, I was manipulated, lied to, persecuted. I mean, people would literally come to my door and try to trick my dad into letting me come out so they could beat me up. It was not a good time for me. And I was desperate, really desperate for any way to empower myself, to change the results I was getting with people. And honestly, helping others at that time, if you'd have told me 20 years ago, I'd be in a room 8, 10 hours a day, helping other people get healthier, I'd have laughed at you, because all I really wanted to do was, kick butt, get chicks, and be cool. But an interesting thing happens is when you start on this path of solving your problems, you get on this path of personal empowerment and self-development, your values change, because as you solve problems, it frees up bandwidth and a desire to do things at a higher and larger level. Elizabeth's asking, will this work for illness? Yes. Most illnesses have a psycho-emotional component that is the lion's share of the problem, and this will work. Delilah says, and you succeeded beyond anyone else's. I'm not done yet, Delilah. I mean, thank you so much for that, but I'm not done. I mean, you guys are part of my. We have this concept. Let me jump off clear the PowerPoint really quick. We have this concept in Taoist spirituality called Ming, and Ming literally means destiny. We have a class called Golden Path where people learn about that. And one of the things that we discover was that you have this mission you're designed. You've all had this question from one time to another. I'm here for some big purpose. What am I supposed to do with it? Right? The Taoists had an answer for that. The Taoists said that each of you has a golden path, a Ming, a mandate from heaven, and that you're given certain skills and qualities and attributes that are designed to allow you to return to what they call your, original face, which is that spiritual being you were before you took on a body. Most of that is in alignment with the things that bring you joy, that light you up. Some of it is in the things that make you want to run away. And the Taoists said that as you get on this spiritual path, the universe kind of conspires to help you live longer, to live a more satisfying, thrilling, and fulfilling life. Now, how does that relate to where I started versus where I am now? One of the things that happens is as you go through these stages in your golden path, the things you think of as problems now that are challenges, that are horrible blocks, they become stepping stones to a better version of yourself. And you learn things about yourself and your capabilities as a byproduct of going through that. And you start to develop an idea of a life direction, maybe not a job, because Golden Path is a lot more than about a job. It's about a life direction that you take that leads to you becoming the best version of yourself. You could say, Delilah, your true power, for sure. People say that when I get on stage, something happens, some energy comes out of me that I'm just me. I'm just having a ball doing what I love to do. And I love watching the lights come on. I love watching people free themselves from the limiting from the shackles that society and culture and genetic memory have all imposed on us. I spent my life trying to be a better me. And what I discovered along the way was some answers. And then I discovered something else, that there were a lot of other people out there trying to be a better version of themselves too. And this could help them. And I discovered, again, I don't believe in altruism. I'm the most selfish motherfucker on the planet. I discovered that when I shared these concepts with people in a way that was spiritually healthy for them, the lights came on and I had this rush of energy, this rush of revelation and transformation in myself. And I want to keep feeling it. I want to share it. I love watching the lights go on. I love people taking these tools, going out into the world and getting a result. People tell me, people write to me all the time. And again, don't take this the wrong way. I don't mean you should stop doing it. But people write to me all the time and tell me how amazing I am. And that's nice. But you know what really inspires me? You know what really excites me is when people write to me and tell me how they took something they learned from me and used it and got the result they wanted and how it's changed their life. I get more excited when people take the material and go and do something with it than anybody calling and writing me and telling me how wonderful I am. Because my job is to pay this forward. The universe, and I had some amazing teachers that I still learn from today. The universe has been my teacher. The universe has gifted me with things and insights that have set me free, have helped set my students free. And I want to share those with you. That's all I want to do. And that sounds hokey, but that's really what it's about. Money's good. The money tends to take care of itself though. When you're on path, when you're on mission on a spiritual level, all that stuff lines up. But sometimes we need help. We need a way to tap into the system, to understand how it works, the way God intended it to work, and use it instead of just letting it default, right? And that's what this class is really, and this package is really all about. So that being said, let me just review this one time. We'll get back to teaching, okay? So for those of you who are on the fence, this is a full spectrum personal transformation package. Total value is $12,932. It's the Secrets of Secrets of Personality Transformation, Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study Course plus Manual. It's a $2,497 value. We're going to include the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course, $1,497 value. We're going to give that to you free. Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation, and Mind Control Home Study Course, $1,497 value for free. Hidden Laws of Attraction, Stealth CPI, $1,950 value, absolutely free. Renegade Reframing, Overcoming Objections and Conversational Belief Change, $1,950 free. And of course, the 3-month trial membership to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program and Group Archive. It's a $594 value. It's actually a lot more. We're going to give it to you for free. Stealth Instant Conversation Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 value, free. And of course, that VIP super ticket for the 5-day hypnotherapy certification bootcamp live in Las Vegas, March 8th through the 13th. $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you free. All you got to do to get yours is get it all for just one low installment of $997 or 3 installments of $397 each. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.davidsnydernlp.com/mind. That's davidsnydernlp.com/mind. When would now be a good time to click that link, reserve your slot, and let me just clear some of these windows so I'm not blocking my own notes. And we'll go from there. And we'll just put this out there. All right. That being said, let's get back to work, shall we? All right, so I promised you that we'd show you how to clear some stuff. All right, let me make my window just a little bit bigger. Okay, so we noticed when we did the emotional bonding checklist, when we did the color breathing exercise, we noticed something, didn't we? We noticed that for some of us, we noticed that as we started tapping into those really powerful feelings, some less than positive feelings came up. If that was true for you, and even if it was just a little tiny bit, it's okay. If that was true for you, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to just type me in that chat. Because the more, again, also I want to know what you want to know more about, but I think this is probably what most of you want to know about. Far out of court, okay? Perfect. Then you're going to love this next piece. This next piece is all about clearing your shit, right? Now, what's interesting is I'm going to give you some foundations really quick, and then we're going to do some drills. Is that okay? If I give you a few, again, I can only give you a teeny tiny piece of the whole curriculum, but I want to give you enough that you understand how to take this process and do it on your own. So you need a little bit of foundation. Then we're gonna get rid of some stuff together, and I'll take some questions and we'll build on tonight's lecture in whatever way that you want. So is that okay? If that's okay, go ahead and type that in the chat. Just type yes in the chat. Perfect. Beautiful. Now, once again, best part is I don't need to know anything about your issue to help you go through it, right? When in doubt, pretend. Like, so again, if I'm giving you instructions and any piece of the instruction isn't working the way you think it should, pretend that it is. Pretend that it is and just keep going. All right. I can't stress that enough. This is the hack, the workaround. Okay. I could go into all the neuroscience why this is true, from studies 30, 40 years back, all the way up to the most modern neuroscience. Just pretend that it is. Okay. How many of you have ever played pretend as a little kid? Type in the chat if you played pretend as a little kid. Okay. If you can do that, how many of you had imaginary friends? Or maybe when you played pretend, you played soldier, and you know, for the first 5 minutes you knew that the toy gun in your hand was, really a toy, and then about 6.5 minutes later it was a real gun. You were really Rambo, and blah, 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 right? You were chucking and jiving, and right, all those things. I see some. Hey, there's Ed Naylor, Big Ed from Texas. How you doing, brother? Good to see a lot of familiar faces on tonight. Very cool. Still pretend, right? The more you can, it's in the Bible. Be as little children. Okay, Jesus was giving you a clue. He was giving, for those of you who are initiated into the mysteries, he was giving you a clue to how the mind works. If you can, here's the other rule. If you can point to where you feel it, you can change it, right? So I asked you, I said to you, when you have those feelings, point to where you feel it and log where you felt it. Ed's doing great. He's using my tools every day. Beautiful, beautiful. And Ed's come along. I mean, when we were working, he came a long way. All right, so here's what we want you to do now. I want to finish the 6 dynamics of an unconscious response. So, part 1, we said the unconscious mind always answers first. It always answers honestly. It always feels like you're making it up. 4 was you always have an urge to edit what just came up. So when you were playing pretend and something popped into your head, there was a part of your brain that said, oh, that can't be right, or that can't be it. Yeah, it was it. Okay? Number 5, it's never loud. So a lot of times when the information comes up from your unconscious mind, because what I'm teaching you here is how to create a dialogue between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. Okay? Conscious mind, unconscious mind. They have different ways of communicating, and if you assume that the way your unconscious mind communicates is the same as your conscious mind, you're going to confuse yourself and you're not going to get change. So you need to understand what are the dynamics of an unconscious response. A, always answers first. B, always feels like you're making it up. C, you always have an urge to edit what just came up. D, always comes up first, always answers honestly, always feels like you're making it up, always feels like it. D, always have an urge to edit what just came up. My bad. Never loud, never linear. Okay? So again, the answers from the unconscious mind always have a soft or a deep or a far off quality to them. So if it comes up first and it's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not vague. It can be vague, but it's almost like it's just soft in the background, like a whim or a notion in the back of your mind. Okay? If it has that quality to it, that's the right information. Now, why is this important? Kind of like subdued is the word I'm thinking about, but it's off in the distance. And you may have, for those of you who did the first part, the emotional bonding checklist, where you were reading your stuff out loud, right? You had the big, strong, positive feeling. Then in the background, there was like this little kind of ickiness to it. Some of you had a much stronger one, right? And that's okay. We can fix that too. But did you notice that it was, yeah, almost like an idea. Exactly. Now here's the secret to this. The fact that it feels like an idea, like a whisper, like a subdued, far-off thing, is not because it's weak. It's because it's deep. You understand that? The things that are coming up are deep to your neurology. And that's why they have that far-off quality. If that makes any kind of sense. Yes, subtle, right? So a lot of times when we do like affirmations and things like that, we try to build up all this positive energy, right? And we try to ignore those subtle icky feelings in the background. True, not true? It can feel like a weight for sure. But isn't that what we do? We try to focus on, because we're taught, focus on the positive, right? Well, the problem is that your neurology is trying to communicate something to you. It's holding on to these less than positive experiences for one reason and one reason only. Storage. It's waiting for you to come back inside, to turn your consciousness and your awareness inward to tell it what to do with this stuff. Unfortunately, no one gave you the owner's manual for your nervous system, right? NLP kind of sort of came close, but it left a few things out, got a few things wrong, okay? Neuroscience has given us an evidence-based approach from the NLP world as well as other things. So this is where it all comes together. So here's the bottom line. Always answers first. Always answers honestly. Always feels like you're making it up. Always have an urge to edit what just came up. Never loud, never linear. 99 times out of 100, when you point to where you feel something and you ask your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind, to take you back in time to the very first scene, situation, or event that is the source, the beginning, the root of that problem, it's almost never what you think it is. Most of your shit happened between the ages of 0 and 5. Now, you may come to see a hypnotist or a therapist for something that happened to you in your 20s or 30s, and you walk in thinking that's what the problem is. I got hit by a bus when I was 27. I've been having PTSD ever since. Hypnotist, if they're competent, puts you in a chair, talks to your unconscious mind, says, go back to the very first scene, situation, or event that is the source, the beginning, the root cause of XYZ problem that you're feeling right now. You go back, all of a sudden you're 5 years old getting hit by a tricycle by your friend who accidentally ran over your foot with a tricycle. And the conscious mind part of you is going, that can't be right. Yeah, it's right. Because your unconscious mind, your autonomic nervous system, has a different way of categorizing and organizing the roots and the trees and the branches of your stuff. The conscious mind thinks very linear, A, B, C, D. Your unconscious mind does not. So many times when you try to get to the root, you're going to hit something that happened between the ages of 0 and 5, and a lot of times it won't make any logical sense. From the conscious mind perspective, it doesn't make sense. In other words, from the conscious mind's perspective, looking back, it doesn't see the connections. From the unconscious mind's perspective, looking forward, everything lines up. So don't be surprised when you start playing with this on your own if weird shit comes up. Okay? Stuff you didn't expect. That's okay. Because your neurology recorded the information in the way that was most useful at the time, right? Most of us are moving through life feeling like we're broken in some way. Would that be true? Have you ever had that moment where you kind of feel like you're broken? Type it in the chat if it's true. I'm gonna give you some very powerful, very important lessons today. None of you are broken. There is nothing wrong with you. The feelings in your body, the stuff that keeps coming up, does not mean you're broken. It's the equivalent of the check engine light on your dashboard. How many of you have a car? Right? When you're driving that car, right? You're driving down the road, check engine light comes on. Do you go rushing to the garage to get the light fixed, or what the light is telling you needs to be fixed? Which do you do? So here's what I'm going to share with you. The symptoms in your body, the pain, the fear, the freezing, the sweating, the nausea, the vomiting, the limps, the pain, whatever, they're not the problem. They're the symptom. They're the check engine light on the dashboard. They're a metaphoric communication from your deep nervous system trying to tell you, hey, there's something in here that we need to fix, and it has something to do with this. Okay? So, the things we're going to play with today on the surface are very, very simple. They seem simple. I could spend days literally unpacking the neuroscience and the NLP and the linguistics and all those things, but it wouldn't make you any better at doing it. It would just distract you. So I find that, especially in a webinar like this, where all we really care about is how to fix the fucking car, not how to build it or how it was built, we just focus on a few things. First and foremost, I want you to understand you are not the way you are because of the shit that happened to you. Now I know, again, just like the whole idea that you're not broken, that sounds really fucking alien, right? How do we find out what's wrong with the engine? You point to where you feel it. We're going to talk about that, all right? Stick with us, Farhad. You'll get there, okay? But I need to give you these things right up front. A, you're not broken. Your system's doing exactly what it was programmed to do. Let you know it's been holding on to some shit and you need to come back inside and clean this shit up. That's all it's doing. And it will keep turning up that volume until you get the message and you take the action. Right? We're going to show you how to take the action. But to do that, you need to set up a dialogue between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind, between your neocortex and your meat. You need the 6 dynamics of an unconscious response for that. The next piece you need to understand is what we call somatic, or body-centered energy psychology. What does that mean? It means if you can point to where you feel it, you can change it. Okay? Do you understand what I just said? If you can point to where you feel it in your body or out of it, you can change it. Okay? Again, when you come to Identity by Design, you'll get a whole manual and you'll be introduced to each the deeps of this, right? We call this the physical location where something manifests is known as a somatic address. Now, there are studies that show that specific types of feelings, specific types of emotions go to specific parts of the body. In fact, I'll show you, I'll see if I can find it really, really quickly here without taking up too much of your time. I have a picture that I want to share with you, but I need to make sure it's the right one. I think it's here. Here we go. All right. What you're seeing here is a graphic that was borrowed from, I believe it's a Swedish study. And what they did was they took polls about where people feel certain types of emotions. And you can see, I don't know if I might have to make it bigger. You can see that the heat maps show you where different types of bodies or different types of emotions show up in the body. Right? So this is not just something David made up. But what you're seeing here is a generalized map. And we're not going to deal with generalizations today. We're going to deal with specifics because, again, each and every one of you have your own way of storing feelings in your body. And this is where we get into this, this idea of what we call body-centered energy psychology. So somatic engagement. The more you get your body involved in a change process, the more rapidly all of your nervous system engages. I have to, let me jump out of this really quick. So let me explain this to you. If you just sit in a chair and vividly imagine something, it can work. If you actually vividly imagine something, you get your breath involved and your physical body involved, it must work from a change work perspective. There's something about these three components, neurological and somatic engagement. You get the imagination and the intention, you get the breath, and you get the physical body engaged. That causes a transformation in the body from the meat, from the brainstem and the organs up to the neocortex. So you're literally changing from the inside out. And at that point, if you do this properly, it doesn't matter what your conscious mind believes. Just keep doing it. It'll overwrite your conscious mind as well. So what happens is when you do this properly, all the different parts of you line up. Okay? Now, you don't have to believe any of it. You just got to do it. That's the beauty of it. You don't got to believe it. You just got to do it. And play pretend is the fastest way to engage this, like all get out. Okay? So again, the more you can physically act out your change, the more rapidly things will tend to change for you. You can do this as an imagined construct. Hypnosis people do it all the time. But if you really want to get deep level change, get the body engaged as much as you can. Another thing you're going to see us do is we're going to talk about a somatic bridge. Now, a somatic bridge, we all know, for those of us who study law of attraction, we all know that we don't end at the body, right? We have this energy field around us, right? Some people call it an aura. I don't call it an aura. I call it a proprioceptive grid because it's an actual extended physical awareness that you have of the space around you that's moderated by your proprioception. That's why when people talk, they move their hands, right? If you think about this field around you like a big bunch of filing cabinets, and I'm opening files and I'm pulling stuff out and I'm moving it around, right? It's almost like a switchboard, like the old-time operator switchboards. So when people talk to you or you talk about your stuff, you'll say, I feel this block in my life and I just wish I could put my hands on it so I could put it behind me or get past it, right? Now, most of you, when I'm doing this, are focused on my words. But did you see what I was doing with my hands? Yes or yes? Type in the chat. The body relates to information in the field around you metaphorically like a solid object. And so when we start using our hands, we're actually processing information. Aside from your eyes, your hands take up more space in your brain than any other part of your body. So when people are talking and they're processing and they're talking about their stuff and they're gesturing, they're actually moving information around kinesthetically in their body. So how do we bridge what's inside of us to what's outside of us? It's called a somatic bridge. We point to where we feel it, we reach out and touch it. Point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. How do you do that? Here's the technique. Think of something you want to change. On a scale of 0 to 10, do something that's around a 1 or 2. Close your eyes. Notice where in your body you feel it. Point to where you feel it. As you point to where you feel it, if there was a picture that represented that feeling floating somewhere in the space around you, a picture that you could reach out and touch, where would you reach out to touch it? First impression. Reach out, touch it. Once you got it, take both of your hands. Trace the outline of that picture with both of your hands so you know exactly how big it is. Once you know exactly how big it is, grab it. Physically grab it with both of your hands. Expand the picture to fill the entire room. Notice what happens to the feelings in your body. Once you got that, put it back to its original size. Now slowly keep the size of the picture exactly the same. Pull the picture closer to your body. Notice what happens to the feeling now. Does it get stronger? Does it get weaker? Doesn't matter which one does what. You just got to know. Put it back to where it was. Now just for fun, put a big, thick, black frame around it. Now, you're probably too young to remember when televisions had real dials and knobs and switches instead of touch screens and remote controls. But I want you to feel along the base of that frame. You're going to notice some dials or knobs like on an old style television. I want you to find the knob that controls the brightness or the contrast. Turn that knob all the way to the right until the image whites out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. Turn it all the way to the left until the image blacks out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. Decide for yourself, which one do you like better? You want it whited out or blacked out? Whichever one it is, turn that knob until the image is completely whited or blacked out. Take the index finger of your dominant hand And in glowing golden letters on that whited out or blacked out screen, there were some lessons that this experience had to teach you, positive or negative. I want you to write those lessons across that whited out or blacked out screen in glowing golden letters so you can keep all the lessons and let everything else go. Now, some people, they know exactly what the lessons were. They know exactly what to write, and they go right to it, and they start writing that shit down. Some people have no conscious idea what to write, but your unconscious mind created this shit in the first place. It always knows. So just like automatic writing, put your finger on the screen, let the finger go, and let it just start writing. If feelings and thoughts and emotions come up, put them on the screen too. Now, some people just draw squiggles. Some people draw pictures. Some people, every now and then, get a little rebellious and write fuck you, fuck you, fuck you across the screen. Some people write with both hands simultaneously, like they're writing Chinese or Hebrew at the same time. However your body wants to do it, let that process flow. Okay? The screen will scroll like a tablet scrolls, so you have an infinite writing space. Now my wife, when she does this, takes her 40 minutes to write things out because she's super detailed. Some people, one and done. Some people, 40 minutes, they're still writing. It doesn't matter. Just keep writing. As you write, you may notice feelings and emotions come up. Put them on the screen. Write them on the screen. Just keep writing until it's done. When, and only when, you know it's done, reach up with both of your hands. Compress and shrink that frame and the reality inside of it down to the size of a postage stamp or even smaller. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as your unconscious mind begins the process of moving that up over the top of your head, back beyond the horizon, until it disappears down below the horizon completely. And you know the sound a hammer makes when you're banging on a nail? Feel it nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back. And when you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back, test it. Try to bring the old feeling back. Try to turn the new feeling off. Notice what happens instead. Now, take all the time you need to let your neurology process. Some people break out in a sweat. Some people laugh. Some people yawn. Some people cry. Some people twitch. Some people choke, sneeze, whatever. Some people just feel waves of emotion coming up. However you do it, it's perfectly okay. Just let the process take place. When you know it's done, scan your body. Notice how different you feel. Type in what you experienced in the chat. What happened? Delilah says excitement. Boom. Sharp pain in the back of my arm. Okay. Light, Mitch says. Peace, Sandra says. Beautiful. Hold on a second. The pain is less. I felt it in my heart. I was also diagnosed with cancer in the same spot 20 years ago. Beautiful. You just cleaned something up you didn't know was there. Beautiful. Ringing, tingling, or tingling. Tingling in the whole body. Very good. Warm fuzzies. Perfect. How does that work? It's because you felt like peace and freedom and felt like okay, unexpected answers and realizations. That's very common, by the way. One of the things, Nancy says, let's do it again. You liked that, didn't you? Right? So what really happened here? What you've tapped into is what I call the holographic nervous system. You don't end at the physical body. This physical form that we're in is just dense light. And each part of you is a different layer. Sarah just says, I did not want to come out of that. That's cool. That's not uncommon at all, right? Again, very quick technique. Here's the beautiful part. It doesn't matter if what you're dealing with is a physical problem or an emotional one. It doesn't matter if it's a behavioral problem or a thinking problem. Because at the level of information, of data that we're processing as from the neurological perspective, the neurology doesn't give a shit. It doesn't care if what you're processing is a physical pain or an emotional one. Because for the most part, your nervous system processes both sets of data exactly the same way, almost in exactly the same locations, right? You don't have to believe me. You can go to PubMed.gov, type in acetaminophen and social rejection, and you will see study after study after study where they've discovered that physical pain, emotional pain, and physical pain are almost identical, and you can get rid of emotional pain by taking a Tylenol. Sherry's asking, does this work on a 7 or 8 instead of a 2 or 3? Yes, and I'll show you how to do that. So Gwendolyn says, well, my arm is going numb from the pain in the back of my... Okay. Okay, there's a lot of... I'm having trouble keeping up with some of the chats here. All right, so people were asking, okay, about sensations. Now, that when you start playing with this, several things could happen. You have several ways the body can manifest transformation. First is complete removal of the problem. Okay? Complete removal of the problem. Second is what we call the Russian doll effect. And what that means is I point to where I feel it, I reach out and touch it, I magic frame it, I move it behind me, knock it back there, and now the area that was this big becomes this big. So I point to where I feel that, I reach out and touch that picture, I frame it, write the lesson, shrink it down, move it behind me, knock it back there. Now the area that was this big becomes this big. And I keep doing that until it goes to nothing. That's called the Russian doll effect. Okay? The other thing that can happen is called body mapping. Now, body mapping is almost like a leapfrog kind of follow the leader kind of phenomenon. So I got this big thing right here, right? I point to where I feel it. I reach out and I touch it. I trace the outline of it with both of my hands. Make it bigger, make it smaller, move it closer, move it away. Put a big, thick black frame around it, white it out, write the images. Shrink it down, move it behind me. All of a sudden that big feeling that was here goes away and something pops up down here. So what do? I point to where I feel it, I reach out and touch it, I trace the edges of it with both of my hands so I know how big it is, I make it bigger, notice what happens to the feeling, make it smaller, notice what happens to the feeling, put a big black frame around it, white out the image, blacken out the image, write the lessons on the screen, shrink it down, float it over the top of my head, back beyond the horizon, nail it back there. Now all of a sudden the feeling that was right here moves over here. Different feeling. Keep, Andrew, if those feelings are coming up, keep going. Okay? That's your body saying, hey, this is weird. Your body needs to, again, I've had people try to ape the biomechanics of like vomiting and all these other things. Keep writing. Get it out of your body, get it on the screen. No matter how bad the symptoms get, if they do, they'll get worse before they get better. Keep writing. Okay? When they're done, and only when they're done, shrink it down, move it up over the top of your head, back beyond the horizon. Well, you'll know right away, Etienne, because what will happen is it'll be here and then it'll go here. And here's the thing you need to understand. When it moves from here to here to here, it's not the same problem. It's a related problem that's connected in some way. So when you zap this, it goes away. But a related issue comes and says, this is next in your unconscious mind saying, okay, you fixed that, now we got to fix this. And then when you get rid of this, the unconscious, okay, you fixed that, now we got to fix this over here. All right? This is a very powerful technique, but in our world, it's basic, and it's because you're doing one issue at a time, but you're resolving that issue and moving on to the next piece. So it can take longer, not because it's because you're actually working with a daisy chain of issues that are similar in some way. Okay. Zachary says, I did it backwards. I wrote happy things down and nailed them my way. I forgot this was supposed to be. Okay, well, Zach, while I have you, what happened when you did that? Don't assume right away that because you did something different or you misunderstood that you did something wrong. What was the result that you got when you did that? What happened? It was a very sad feeling. Yeah. So now here's what you do. Reverse the process. Remember, you put it back there. You guys want to play a game really quick just to show you how powerful you are? Would you like to do that? All right. So let's do this. Let me just review the package we've got today. We're going to play something called the frame game. And this is something that once I teach it to you, you should be doing every day. Okay? And it relates directly to Zach. I'm going to show him how to actually fix what he did. All right. So first and foremost, let's just review our package for today. Remember, this goes away when I log off. All the fast action bonuses go away. So we're looking at the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study Course and Manual. It's a $2,497 value. You're going to get the Identity by Design 5-day hypnotherapy home study course for free. You're going to get Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation and Mind Control, $1,497 value, absolutely free. You're going to get the Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol, $1,950 value, absolutely free. Renegade Reframing and Overcoming Objections, absolutely free. NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring, $594 value, 90-day trial for free. And the Stealth Instant Conversation Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 absolutely free. And of course, that VIP super ticket to our 5-day Identity by Design Hypnosis and Hypnotherapy super training out in Las Vegas, Nevada, March 8th through the 13th. You can get it all for one low installment of just $997 or 3 easy payments of $397 each. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.davidsnydernlp.com/mind. That's www.davidsnydernlp.com/MIND. If you need help, you can reach out to Stephanie at 858-282-4663. And or Stephanie at nlppower.com, and she can help you to substitute things. What else can we need after all this, indeed? Oh, believe me, there's lots more coming, but again, let's play a little bit. Now, this next drill is something we teach in our Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Certification Program. It's called the Frame Game. This is something you actually do in a consultation with a client, but in the context of personal transformation. This is a way to rapidly understand how you create everything that you subjectively experience. You see, you may have heard me say this in other webinars, but I'll say it here for this one. You are not the way you are because of the stuff that happened to you. I need to be very, very clear. 90%, I'll say 90, I won't go 99, because some people might not be able to wrap their head around that, but it really is. 90% of everything that walks into a doctor's office is memory-based. 9 out of 10 things that a doctor's going to treat you for has its roots in your memories and your emotions. It's not the thing that happened to you. So here's how it works functionally. You are not the way you are because of the things that happened to you. You are the way you are because of the way you recorded the things that happened to you and the way you've been relating to the recordings of what happened to you. You understand what I'm saying? You are not the way you are because of the things that happened to you. You are the way you are because of the way you recorded the things that happened to you and the way you've been relating to those recordings. Okay? So again, the stuff that happened to you, the stuff that traumatized you is gone. It happened to you once. Maybe, each incident, it's like that old saying, you can never step in the same river twice. Right? But we relate to the recordings that we make of these experiences as if they're the real thing. And they're not. But they're encoded in such a way that they feel real. But they're not. They're something that you made up. And if your nervous system made it up, your nervous system can change it. Do you understand the concept? Do you understand the power of what I just said? Everything you experience is a product of a code that your nervous system wrote and is running. Well, if your system wrote the code, it can rewrite the code. Right? This is actually what the study of NLP originally was about. It was the study of how human beings create their subjective worlds. Right? When we, at the beginning of today's lecture or class, when we talked about the emotional motivation checklist, right? What were we doing? We were tapping into an arbitrary list of things that needed to be satisfied that your neurology decided was going to lead you to the most desirable feelings in the most desirable way. Everything human beings do runs on a kind of code. Now, we're not computers at all. In fact, we are way cooler than computers, right? Think about it. And if you ever doubt that, by the way, think about this. Who made who? Right? Who came first? Notice that most of the technologies that we really love are emulating something that we're already doing in our nervous system, right? You guys ever watch Iron Man or Minority Report? They have these big virtual reality computers, right, where you're exploding diagrams and you're moving things out, or your iPhone where you're taking a little picture and making it bigger. Well, doesn't that seem an awful lot like make a picture bigger, make it smaller, pull it closer so I can see it? Doesn't that kind of seem familiar to you? Why? Because human beings are always creating technology that reflects or mirrors what we do with our own neurology, usually below the threshold of conscious awareness. That's why we call the interfaces in our smartphones or on our touchscreens intuitive. Does that make sense? Very cool. Now, how many of you can feel good for no friggin' reason? Type it in the chat. Right? Now, for this next drill, I want you to go through your entire life history, find a time in your life when you felt the most amazing, thrilling, fulfilling, satisfying pleasure ever. I don't care if it was only one time, and on a scale of 0 to 10, it was a 3. If that's the best you can call up, that's what you call up. I don't care. I'm not the pleasure police, right? You're going to do this in the privacy of your own home or vehicle or whatever. Make sure you're not driving when you're doing this. Make sure the car's in park. Make sure the engine's turned off, all right? But I want you to just stop for a moment. Close your eyes. And if you want to stand up to do this, you can do that, right? Okay? I want you to stand up. I want you to remember that most pleasurable moment in your life. Remember the time in your life when you felt the most amazing, thrilling, fulfilling, satisfying pleasure ever. What did you see in that moment? What did you hear? What did you smell? What did you taste? How are you standing and breathing in that moment? Just go ahead and do that. As you see what you see and you hear what you hear and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, there's an amazing feeling that you get, a feeling of absolute pleasure. And I'd like you to notice that there's a place in your body where those feelings start, where they grow, where they spread from. Take a moment. Point to where you feel it. And point to it. Now, if there were a picture floating in the space around you that represented that amazing feeling, a picture that you could reach out and touch. Take your other hand, reach out, touch that picture. Now take both of your hands. Trace the outline of that picture with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Let's make sure we got the right one. Grab a hold of it. Make that picture as big as the room. Notice what happens to that feeling in your body. Does it get stronger or does it get weaker? Doesn't matter which one you do, just know. When you got that, bring it back to its original size. Once you got that, slowly pull it closer to your body. Does the feeling get stronger or weaker? Doesn't matter which one you do, just notice which one you get. Right? Now, lift it above your head. Pull it down around you like a big blanket. Notice how good that feels. Now, you can have this feeling back in whatever way you want in just a moment. But for the sake of our drill, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to unwrap that feeling, lift it up over your head. Now, most of you know what a Frisbee is, I'm going to assume. If you don't, it's a little round plastic disc that you throw to your partners in the park. Imagine this feeling that you're holding is now shaped like a Frisbee. I want you to take that Frisbee, I want you to throw it all the way behind you. Whoosh! Until it disappears behind the horizon. When it disappears completely behind the horizon, scan your body. Notice what happened to the feelings. Stay with it long enough to understand what changed. When you realize what's happened, lift your hands back up. Now imagine your hands are the world's most powerful Frisbee magnets and suck that Frisbee right back into your hands. And as you hold this powerful energy in your hands above your head, I'm going to share with you the most important thing you can hear tonight. inside your mind, body, and soul. You are the god or goddess of your reality. You are the king or queen of your universe. And you have absolutely every right and privilege and authority to make any change that you want for any reason that you want. I want you to grab a hold of your power and play with it right now. I want you to take this pleasure, this picture that you're holding. I want you to play with it. I want you to make it bigger, make it smaller, move it up, move it down, move it in your body, move it out of your body, move it all around you. Notice how every time you change the size, the shape, the location, any attribute of this picture, the feelings and the quality of the feelings in your body change as well. And I want you to keep playing with it until you find the exact size, shape, and location that gives you the exact feeling that you want to have at the exact intensity level that you want to have it. When you find that sweet spot, fix it into place. Allow the energy, the pleasure of that feeling, of that picture, to flow into your body. From your body to your heart, from your heart to your bloodstream, and from your bloodstream, every place your blood flows, those feelings go into every nerve, into every cell, into every atom, into the very DNA of those cells, reprogramming, transforming, turning each and every cell of your body into a powerful, perpetual pleasure factory. Each cell of your body generating more and more and more of those amazing feelings in an infinite, ever-expanding, and unlimited supply. There's no need to measure it, manage it, or make it happen faster. Just notice that process taking place until it becomes so strong, so powerful, so unstoppable in every way. No force in the universe can turn it off or take it away, not even you. And when you realize it's true, test it. Try to turn it off. Try to make it go away. Notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, type your experiences in the chat so everybody can benefit. Rise Chum says happy. Yay. Strong emotions, tears, satisfaction. She feels lighter, some relief. Felt good. Beautiful. It's stuck like an octopus on me. You mean, Mark, you're stuck feeling good now? Oh, darn it. What a suck deal. Zachary says things became bright and feeling wonderful. Tears, comforting. Boom. Congratulations, my friends. You just tapped into the power that you have to control your neurology. And she says, I love it. I feel so happy and secure. I should do this every day. Yes, you should. And that's exactly what I was getting at. If you only ever do this one time on this webinar and you never do it again, you are depriving yourself of the most powerful tool, the most powerful gift I can give you. And that's the ability to control your own mind and body, to be able to decide what thoughts are worth keeping, what thoughts to get rid of, what dreams are worth keeping, what dreams are worth getting rid of, what beliefs are worth keeping, what beliefs are not, what traumas to hold on to, what traumas to get rid of. Every single one of the things I just named is built from the same stuff. And if you can point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, you can change it. Okay? Got a fear? Point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. Write the shit on the screen. Boom, done. Don't believe me, try it. Okay? But I digress. This thing we just did, point, make it bigger, make it smaller. Some people want their traumas. Some people, it's such a part of their identity, they don't know who they'd be without it. Now, trust me, I've literally looked into the hearts and minds of tens of thousands of people in one way or another. Some people are highly invested in it. I'm pretty sure it's not anybody on this webinar. But here's my point. Once you understand how your nervous system creates everything you think you experience, you now have the power to change it. Well, Kathleen, it's terrifying on one level. It's amazing on another. And probably the most counterintuitive aspect of it, believe it or not, is how humbling it is. Because when you've looked into the hearts and minds of hundreds or thousands of people, and you realize that every single one of them is the same, that inside the heart and minds of every single human being on the planet is a scared little child, desperate to be loved and terrified of being alone. When you realize that, it changes the way you see the entire world. And it's humbling when you realize the universe chose you to be the agent of transformation, to deliver that person, or help them deliver themselves, I guess is another way of saying it. And you start to ask yourself the question, why me? Then, of course, if you've done any kind of renegade reframing, a little voice in your head says, why not you? Right? You each have a mission to fulfill in this universe. Some of them are very grand, some are very large scale, some of them are very small in terms of scope, but just as important. But regardless of whether you're a Donald Trump of the world or a Mother Teresa, inside each and every one of us is that little child. And when you can go in and nourish that child, nurture that child, and give them the resources that they need, the knowledge, the understanding, the realization that they're always good enough, that they're never alone, that they're always loved and accepted. Those children, us, they can go through anything and be okay. But, moving down the line, what you're learning here now is something that's a little bit, it comes at the same issue from a different angle. Is how did we create that stuff that holds us back in the first place? Well, we created that stuff the same way we created all the things that make us feel happy and joyful and playful and loving. We built it. We took an experience. Our neurology said, okay, how do I represent this in a way that's useful to this human being? Well, I'll put some feelings here, and I'll put some colors here, and I'll put some smells here, and I'll put them together in a certain order and sequence, and I'll put it in a special location so we know where we store those things, right? Once you understand how that works, you can start rewriting the code, right? But this game that we just played with the pleasure, the frame game, right? What I want you to do with this, whether you take the package now or before we end or whatever, whatever time you decide to do that, I want you to do this frame game, the pleasure we played with. I want you to do it every day, multiple times a day. Preferably when you get up in the morning, before you go to bed at night, and if you take a nap during the day, or just after lunch or after a meal, those are probably some of the best times to practice and play this game with yourself. Why? Because when you start working with this frame game, you start generating in the body a condition known as self-directed neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the way our brain changes and learns and grows and becomes more powerful. So when we start integrating these different levels of our neurology, we start creating more neurological connections in our brain that make us better able to control and manage everything. So if you want to get on the fast track to personal evolution, this frame game alone will dramatically change how rapidly you can control your emotions and ordain your destiny. If you take this and then build the identity by design silo on top of it, now you have not only a system that can change itself very rapidly at the drop of a hat, you also have a series of tools to target specific aspects of your personality, your identity, your personal history, in whatever order or sequence you need to do it. All right? The question was, will you learn regression in identity by design? You will be introduced to regression. There's one regression technique that we teach in identity by design. That's called the gift. And it covers about 80% of the mechanics that is covered in classical regression therapy, but because it's all pleasure-based, you don't have any, you don't have a lot of the same risks of abreactions and traumas and things that the person's not prepared to deal with. But it's one of the most powerful cross-contextual personal transformation techniques that we've ever come up with, and it's all pleasure-based. And you learn it it's in your Identity by Design 5-day home study course. It's also something you'll learn at the live event. So that's to answer that question. PJ keeps asking, what's my opinion on meditating or practicing naturally versus meditating or practicing using brain waves, isochronic tones, and binaural beats? I used to use them quite a bit when I was younger. I don't use them quite as much anymore because I don't always have them. And people tend to become a little bit too dependent on toys. So I think they can absolutely help, but I think people need to understand that it has limitations. One of the problems that people have when it comes to working with light and sound machines, electrocranial stimulation, all these other external devices that are designed to facilitate brainwave states, is that you can get the state, but if you don't have an application connected to it, it's not useful. So you have to link whatever you're using to achieve the state to the application you want to use that state for. I have found on a pragmatic or functional level, it's actually better to engage in the activity that is the application you want. And if you do the application enough, the state required for you to be good at it will manifest automatically. And so if we keep experiencing, no, actually they'll tend to get stronger. Sandra's saying, if we keep going to the same happiest experience, will they become weaker? No, they'll tend to get stronger. You'll actually expand your emotional range as you do it. Now the idea is you want to expand it, experience it, let it go. Expand it, experience it, let it go. If you try to hold it too long, then you can actually reach a peak and a collapse. So it's better to hit it, expand it, let it go, hit it, expand it, let it go, and then you have what we call a stacking effect. If you hold something too long, it tends to collapse. So you make it too strong too quick, right? So there's different ways that you go. And again, you can learn about that in Identity by Design. Can we use this to manifest? 1,000%, Elvira, you can use this 100% to manifest. That's why we included the Hidden Laws of Attraction, of course, in the package. Because once you have Identity by Design, you've got the fast track to hardwiring your nervous system to interface with the non-local spiritual universe. And so your manifestations tend to come really, really quick. Because you got all the stuff out of the way that was in the way. Rebecca says, is there a way to do it, again, a shorter version, internet died? Well, you just watch the replay, sweetie. It's right there. We've done it a couple of times. We're going to do some more stuff before we end anyway. So, Farad says, I need to learn how to get my inner child to get on board with the changes I want to make, instead of saying, I don't want to do this all the time. Is this program going to do it? Yes. And here's why. The frame technique I just taught you is specifically designed to target things that your nervous system doesn't want to get rid of yet. And the reason it doesn't want to get rid of it yet is because it's afraid that if it gets rid of it, worse things will happen. So when you start to point to where you feel it, you reach out and touch it, you write the lessons that the experience had to teach you, all the reasons that your neurology has for keeping it go on the screen, and it lets everything else go. So the nice thing is you preserve those lessons and you put them in a space neurologically that is, for all intents and purposes, overdone and complete. But if you need to go back and get it, you know where to find it, right? Guys, if you've ever done taxes, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You know, you do all these taxes, then you mail off your check, and you cry, and you drink, and you bleed from the anus, right? You get back home, and there's this big box of stuff sitting on the countertop that you're not allowed to get rid of, but for all intents and purposes, it's done. So what do? You look for a place where, for all intents and purposes, it's done, but you never have to look at it again. But if you get a letter from the IRS, you know exactly where to go to find it, right? Anything that travels beyond the front hemisphere of the body, the front anterior plane of the body, your neurology automatically recodes as an event or an experience that's done, complete, and finished. Okay? Again, if you want to see a more in-depth treatment of this, it's in the courses, but also some of our other webinars, if you want to sit through the webinars. I go really in-depth into how this works, how we've mapped out all the different areas for different changes and things of that nature. But the bottom line is, if you imagine my body divided into two halves of a sphere, anything that's in this sphere is like a file open on your desktop, right? It's open and it's running. Anything that's in this part of my hemisphere, my proprioceptive grid, your neurology codes it as a file that's closed, over, and done. It's kind of like the recycle bin that you haven't hit empty the bin yet. As far as the neurology is concerned, it's gone. Don't need to worry about it anymore, right? That's why when you took the picture, shrunk it down, moved it up over the top of your head and back beyond the horizon, your shit went away. It's because in every human being on the planet that I have encountered so far, and that's quite a few, every single one of you did it this way. Now, sometimes you try to bring it back because people have what does change from time to time is how willing people are to let something go. But that's attachment, not an inability, right? And you can deal with that. So as far as, yes, for instance, something bad will happen again if I get rich because it's happened in the past. Yes, that's exactly what this technique is for, Farah. That's the perfect technique for what you're dealing with. And it works with relationships, it works with back pain. Like, let's say you're in an accident, for example, right? And 6 months later, you go to the doctor, all the imaging shows you're perfectly healthy, there's no long-lasting damage, and yet, for some reason, you get to a certain range of motion, and these aches pop up out of nowhere, or there's always a little bit of an ache in the background. What you're dealing with, in my opinion, is the unconscious mind's version of phantom pain. The unconscious mind is saying, I don't trust you to not injure that part of you again. So how can I make sure you always remember to protect that area? I know. I'll put a little bit of pain there. Not too much. Just enough so that when you reach that danger zone, the little engine, like check engine light goes on, you'll know to stop. Because your unconscious mind is stronger than you. Right? Until you learn how to talk to it. It doesn't trust you to keep you safe. So it puts a little pain there to remind you, don't do that shit again. So you have to send your unconscious mind a message to say, hey, I got this. I remember, I'll keep the lesson, we can let the rest go. How do you do that? You write out the lesson. The act of integrating your neurology together sends a message to the unconscious mind that you've learned the lesson, that it's been preserved, so it's willing to let everything else go. Right? Because one of the biggest components of your unconscious mind is the protective mechanism. Right? If you got something that you keep putting off, or you're struggling with procrastination, point to where you feel it. Reach out and touch it. Write the lesson, shrink it down, move it behind you. Notice how rapidly it's no longer a problem for you. Right? Limiting belief, point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. Put a frame around it. Right? And you'll notice something. Some of your really, really strong stuff, when you point to where you feel it and you reach out and touch it, it's right here. And it's huge. First thing you do, push it away from you. Notice what happens to the feeling. Shrink it down. Push it away from you. Notice what happens to the feeling. Now you can work with it. If you think of moving the picture bigger, making the picture bigger or moving it closer, think of it like a volume knob that turns up the intensity of the experience. Right? So, lots of cool questions, right? What if it's cancer? How to find the root? Okay. I have several cancer stories. But here's the bottom line. Cancer is never the problem. Anything that's chronic in the human nervous system is almost always a symptom. Okay, in Chinese medicine, we have this concept called root and branch. Tumor, metastasis is a symptom of something else. Cancer is a product of a process which you can't find in the body. So how do you deal with that? I'll tell you a quick story. It involves a technique called spinning. Once upon a time, I was in Orlando, Florida. I was at a training with Richard Bandler. And we were on a break. And this gentleman comes up. He goes, hello, my name is Gus. And our mutual friend James says, you can cure my cancer. And I looked at him. Me? Now, first of all, let me set the stage. I'm at an NLP training. It's a 15-minute intermission. Up to that point, I was primarily a regression therapist, which is not a fast process clinically. This is before I made a lot of my other discoveries. I had one technique known as energy spinning, which I got to download in 2005. So I'm sitting here in the middle of this this intermission in a lobby outside of a training room. This gentleman, I have no idea who he is, comes up to me and says, "Our friend James says you can cure my cancer." And I'm like, in my head, I'm going, what the fuck do I do now? And I got another download from the universe. And I said, point to where you feel it. He points. I said, that's not the problem. He looks at me like, what? I said, that's not the problem. That's the symptom. There's a reason that tumor is there. And there's a feeling connected to that reason. Point to the place in your body where the feeling connected to that reason is located. He points to his heart. I said, now close your eyes. Look at it with your inner eyes. Notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What's that color, first impression? He goes, it's red. I go, excellent. Reach in with both of your hands. Grab all that red energy. Take it out. Hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes it hides. He reaches and he pulls out a little bit more. He looks at it. I go, as you look at it, did the color change or stay the same? First impression. He goes, it's the same. He goes, I go, excellent. Notice it's moving. It's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? He goes, it's spinning this way. I said, excellent. Grab it with both of your hands. Now make it the opposite of what it was. Make it spin the opposite way and double the spin. And I have him physically double it. Double the speed. Double the force. Double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. He slams that energy back into his heart. The minute he slams it back into his heart, I clamp my hand over his heart. I clamp my hand over his back. I swipe his conception vessel. I swipe his governing vessel. I sweep his triple warmer and gallbladder meridians, and I come back and I put my hands over his heart. He turns beet red, breaks out in a sweat, and he starts twitching for like 30, 35 seconds. When he came out of the shake, his personality changed. He goes, oh, that's very different. And he said, and he stopped being angry. And so, right as he was coming out of it, they rang the bell to start the seminar. I said, bye! And I ran back in to my training. 2 or 3 weeks later, I get, you guys probably don't remember this little toy dog, Bo. I'm like the cutest dog in the world. I get this little stuffed toy poodle in the mail with a letter. And he says, the poodle is for your daughter. Many thanks, Gus. And I opened the letter, and apparently he sent me this, what looked like some kind of a lab report. Now at that time, I hadn't been in my doctorate program where I went through all the integrative medical tests and how to read these things. I have it now, but then I didn't. So I was like, what do these numbers mean? And so I had my one student, Zach, whose mother was a ER nurse, and Zach himself at the time was studying to be an ER tech. Says, can you ask your mom what these numbers mean? And he came back a day or two later and goes, they're tumor markers. His tumor had shrunk by 50%. Right? What was the tweak? Cancer, like many other chronic illnesses, is always a symptom. So when you're treating if it's an acute problem, you can just point to where you feel it and just zap it. If you're dealing with something that's a little bit more chronic, you have to ask the neurology, what's the reason behind this and where is that located? Subtle change in question. In the Identity by Design course, you'll learn about what we call the somatic search engine concept. You'll learn about body-centered energy psychotherapy, from somatic address to somatic engagement to somatic bridge to everything that I'm talking to you about is in that course. The spinning technique that I just talked about is actually in that course. It's actually part of the second or third technique. So, and a lot of the techniques in the Identity by Design silo are built from the smaller techniques. They just get more powerful and more targeted to specific aspects. But in terms of cancer or any form of chronic illness, you don't go for the symptom, you go for the cause, which is almost always a psycho-emotional event. Almost always a psycho-emotional event. Okay, the Zoom attempting green screen. That's my, again, this is actually, believe it or not, this is a virtual background, but believe it or not, this is actually my actual bookshelf. I took a picture of my bookshelf so I could take my books with me wherever I went. So yeah, it's virtual, but if you went to my house, you would see all the books exactly like this. So, all right, we're coming up on the home stretch. So let me go ahead and just one last call for this package. So again, everything that I've talked about, everything I've explained to you, everything I've walked you through is in this package, and a whole lot more. But it's in a sequence that you can easily assimilate and put into practice right away. And again, it's the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study Course and Manual. It's a $2,497 value. The Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course. It's a $1,497 value. We're going to give that to you free. The Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation, and Mind Control Mastery Home Study Course, $1,497 value. Give it to you absolutely free. The Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol, $1,950 value, absolutely free. Renegade Reframing, How to Overcome Objections and Change Beliefs During Conversations, $1,950 value, free. 90-day trial to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, $594 value, 10-year value, 10-year archive, absolutely free. The Stealth is the Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, $997, yours free. And of course that VIP super ticket. And again, if you were at all intrigued by the spinning and the framing and my talk about regression and all these other things, you really want to use this VIP ticket and get your butt to the live event in Las Vegas, March 8th through the 13th, and it will change your life like no course has ever changed your life. Don't believe me. Remember, everything here is has a 60-day money-back guarantee. If after 60 days you're not completely satisfied, just let us know and we'll do what we can to make it right. Okay? All you got to get yours is go to www.nlppower.com. I'm sorry, davidsnyder.nlp.com/mind. That's www.davidsnydernlp.com/mind. You can get it all for just one low installment of $997, which is, if you think about the value that you're getting, if just one of these techniques could remove an illness, emotional or physical, from your life, think about that. But you got a lot more than that in this course. You got so much power, so much potential. There's literal magic inside of you waiting to be set free. Will you accept it? Will you embrace it? Will you go for it? $997. I can't make it any easier. 3 easy installments of just $397. www.davidsnydernlp.com/mind. www.davidsnydernlp.com/mind. All right. And let me look at my chat really quick. Perfect. All right, you guys, I want to thank you for your time. Once again, if you have other questions, and I want to be very clear, immediately after I log off the webinar, YouTube is going to start processing tonight's content. If you go to the live recordings segment in our YouTube channel, you click on tonight's webinar, you place your question in the comment section. Over the next 7 to 10 days, I'm going to check that comment section every single day, and if you have a question there, I will do my best to answer it. If you have questions about the package or substitutions for the package, if I named any, if you have some of our products, for example, and some of the things in the package you already have, you can substitute them as long as the product is of equal or lesser value. Okay. I hope you guys took some powerful techniques away from tonight. Remember, one technique can change your life. I'm giving you hundreds. In the words of the immortal Carol Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together. just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Good night, everybody. Good night. God bless. Make sure you like, subscribe, join our private memberships. Grab your package, www.davidsnydernlp.com/mine. Give Stephanie and Holly and Seth and Brandon a huge shout and a thank you for being in the background and taking care of us.